What is going on, everybody? Happy Turkey Day. Michael J. Crawford, the Anti-Tricker here. Of course, this is my second actual stream today. Wanted to check in with you guys. We had a great Thanksgiving dinner right after the first live stream from this morning. And shortly after that, Mrs. Anti-Tricker took a nap, and so while she was taking a nap, I watched Unification 3. So, here's my official review of Unification 3. The end. So yes, that is my... And by the way, I have to say that I predicted it. You go back, I predicted they were going to make Tilly the first officer, even though it makes no freaking sense because she's a dang ensign. But yes, Tilly is now the dang first officer. And now, not only is Michael Burnham awesome beyond belief, but they just made it perfectly clear that she's the only reason that the Vulcans and the Romulans managed to get together. Not only that, but apparently she is revered among the Vulcans. Every single time, I think that they could not possibly crap on Star Trek any worse than they already have. They say, hold my beer, I've got an idea. The one entertaining thing about this episode was the fact that it did air on Turkey Day, and boy, was that appropriate. And yeah, well, no, Thomas, I knew as soon as they started out saying, Michael, but I just don't think that I belong here anymore. It's like, yeah, by the end of the episode, she's going to say, I ain't going to stay, because you're not getting rid of me. By the way, what I'm drinking here is Lismore 18 years single malt Scotch. I broke it out because I'm celebrating that 2020 is coming to a close. So, no, Matthew, this is not apple juice. This is the real frickin' deal. And Piano Dean says, did you ever see 007 Spectre? Never watched it any good? Yes, I like it. I know some people aren't real fond of the Daniel Craig 007 films, but I did like Spectre. It felt like the Daniel Craig take on a classic Roger Moore 007 adventure. So take one of the Roger Moore 007 movies but make it serious, and then and you got it. So I thought it was good. So yeah, that was just a horrifically bad episode of Star Trek Discovery. 2020, the year people's eyes opened. I don't know if I'd say that, Darren. I genuinely, I don't know if I would say that, because if 2020 was the year that people's eyes were opened, then, but the world is in freaking chaos right now. So I don't know. And everybody's hating each other. People are making, I don't know about, in other places, but here in Tennessee, people are making another run on toilet paper and crap like that. Everybody's going crazy again. And Piano Dean, yeah, if you like Roger Moore, and you like the Daniel Craig movies, it's a great blending of the two. It really is. And you're right, Darren. Roger Moore never actually fought Spectre, but this felt like a Roger Moore-esque situation. I mean, the guy had a secret hideout inside of a meteor crater. That's a Roger Moore thing right there. I mean, I know that, the villains had their bases in the Sean Connery films, but it wasn't quite as elaborate as in the Roger Moore films. And so I don't know. I liked it. So, but yes, Spectre was a Sean Connery villain, but interestingly enough, Blofeld was killed by Roger Moore. So, there, you got that. And Thomas says, "Here's your weekly reminder that I said, and I did say that I had hope after episode 2. Thank you for reminding me of that, Thomas." And Sean, thank you so much, drops 5 pounds into the chat and says, "It's not yet dropped on Netflix in the UK. We'll watch tomorrow. Been thinking about The Burn, and one question, where is Q? Would he have stood by?" Well, first of all, I don't think that Q is as powerful as a lot of people make him out to be. But even if he was, maybe they just don't care. There is that possibility, because maybe the Q continuum just doesn't give a crap enough about humanity to actually do something about the burn. And Darren says, "I found another reason to hate Tennessee. It's the home of the Lodge, the biggest U.S. manufacturer of cast iron skillets, and they suck." Okay, I didn't know you were making a list of reasons to hate Tennessee, Darren, except maybe the fact that I live here, I guess. And Yosef puts in €2, says, "Almost 2 a.m., need to sleep. Was I right about disco?" I was hoping you would drop by, Yosef. Oh my God, you were right. Oh, this episode is horrid. I'm drinking right now as a direct result of that episode. Not kidding. That episode just, if it wasn't for the fact that Mrs. Anti-Checker was taking a nap, I would have been screaming at the TV. When the Vulcans now pretty much worship Michael Burnham, and the Vulcan. Well, here's the interesting thing, and the Vulcans are dicks, by the way, because everybody is a dick now in the 20th or the 32nd century. They go to Earth, they're dicks. They go to Trill, they're dicks. Now they go to Vulcan, they're dicks. And Discovery shows up and makes them a little bit less of dicks. That seems to be the premise for this season. Everybody's a freaking dick, but Discovery shows up and makes them a little bit less of a dick. That's the premise this year, this season. That's all we got to work with. And so with that, I am going to invite you guys to join me, because this is Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is a day to share, and so I am going to share the link. So come on up, guys, if you so choose. Always have a seat here for you guys when I'm drinking. Now it says the Romulans weren't dicks. Well, they were kind of dicks to the Vulcans. So, yeah, I still didn't like it. And Bird O'Prey 5 is the first to join me. How you doing, Bird?
Hello, world. It's Bird O'Prey 5. Kapla.
So, how you doing, my friend? Did you watch? I assume you put out your review this morning. I did not put out a review.
Not only did I put out my review, it is the best video I put out in years. It took off.
Did it?
It already has over, for me, over 700 views.
Wow!
Usually, after a week, I'm lucky if I get 1,000. I've already got 700.
Dang, I should have put a review out this morning. Shows I'm an idiot, but that's awesome, Bert. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it took off.
Are you getting a bump in your sub count too?
Oh yeah, I just hit the 2,500 mark.
Awesome.
I was right teetering on 24 and change. What'd you say, man? Oh, thank you. Mamo Pray just heard. Yeah, 2501 last I checked.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. And yes, Bird of Prey sounds like a stuffed bird because, hey, it is Thanksgiving.
I sound like I'm stuffed because I'm talking low because Nephew O'Prey is sleeping.
Oh, okay. Sure. We'll believe you. On Turkey Day.
I had chicken wings today.
Uh-huh. So you're a cannibal.
The pot roast didn't come out so well.
I had steak.
Mom O'Prey's like, yeah, the pot roast isn't going to work. So we ended up ordering from a diner. They had a turkey meal, but I said, I want wings.
And Commodore Ty says, I joined, but I'm at the bar, and people don't forget to sub to my channel. What are you doing at a bar? Just get some booze and sit around and drink with us.
Thanksgiving, man. You should be online with your friends, not at a bar with your friends.
Wasn't it awesome how they connected Picard to Discovery? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
TNG most, from what I've been able to tell.
Wasn't awesome they had Leonard Nimoy appear as a hologram of himself?
Yeah, that was great. Oh, and let's not forget that somehow Michael Burnham's mother, I guess, just apparently showed up, and the Vulcans and Romulans are like, hey, you must be related to Michael Burnham, so you're awesome, so we're going to take you in and make you part of our order and make you a master of their total candor thing within what? How long was she there? She hasn't aged that much.
You're going to become Kawat Malo.
You want to know something else? That clip that they used of Spock was actually... nobody filmed that. You know, if you look at the actual episode where that came from, that was from the second part of Unification. And that was something that he said to Picard in private. I mean, he didn't...
Oh, you didn't know? Picard didn't believe in privacy because he's a communist. So he was recording it.
I guess so.
Oh, you think it was just CGI?
What do you mean?
Like, to make his lips move.
Oh, I don't know. Within the narrative, I don't know. But that moment was on Romulus, just as Picard and Data were departing, and there was nobody there.
There shouldn't have been an official record, is what.
Right, there shouldn't have been a recording,
exactly.
except that we forget that Picard was a communist and probably recorded everything because he was as evil as Richard Nixon.
Federation censors were, they could take that picture of Spock from the neutral zone. Surely they could record.
Oh, and DJ donated $1. Thank you, Deej. I apologize. Says, here's $1. Enjoy your discovery. Can't stay. Have my own show to do. LMAO. Yeah, sigh. Steal my thunder.
Yeah, that's
sorry.
Right.
I'm just...
He's doing a review of Stripes.
Oh, is he doing like a watch party kind of thing? Like
no, the watch party was earlier. He's doing a review of the movie.
Okay. So yeah, I honestly, Michael's the only one that can go to Vulcan. It's overachiever and made Spock. She should join the koala mullet as her priestess. And Greg Kahn says, this show brings new meaning to the statement, disco sucks. It really does, Greg. And it was absolutely mind-blowing to me that the writing is so bad on this show. It's just...
How much better would this show have just been? Just if in the first episode, instead of all that Klingon stuff, instead of all that other stuff, they have a ship that looks like it's appropriate to the era it was supposed to be in, and in the first episode they get transported to this future. and that's the first season. You know.
Oh, yeah. That it would have been better for sure if they had just started. Actually, I think that they just should have started as a 32nd Century show. And honestly, you could have it to where the first thing we see is Discovery looking like a TOS era ship coming through the wormhole, and then them trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And then if you want this new look, that's where you do the upgrades.
Right.
You know?
And and instead of telling us that this is how it's always been, when we know that it hasn't been.
Right.
Because we can watch the episodes and we can pay attention, you know, something that their shows aren't designed for, people who can pay attention. But
and by the way, Jaegerbomb, just say Jaegerbomb threw in $5, says, "Thank you for watching this so we don't have to." Brighter note, cooking some steak, asparagus, and bacon, mac and cheese, eating like a capitalist. Very good,
Sounds
my friend.
delicious.
That does sound good. Although I gotta say, Mrs. Anti-Tracker still makes a mean turkey, so I am chock full of turkey right now.
You know, on Resolute Germs channel today, we watched a movie about a mean turkey that I strongly recommend everybody watch. It's on Amazon Prime
Would you
Video.
watch Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving.
Yes. Thanksgiving.
I love the opening of it. The pilgrim woman running through the woods with her chest falling out of her blouse.
I missed that part, but I went back just to watch it, and yes, I was not disappointed.
I've never seen it.
It is awesome.
Is it awesome because it's so bad, or is it?
Yes.
I mean,
It's that kind of awesome. Yeah, it's definitely that kind of awesome.
All right. Well, maybe I'll talk because Mrs. Antrager would say, "What are we going to do after your show?" And hey, that might be
It's a great movie to watch with the missus.
Yeah. So thanks, killing, huh?
Thanksgiving.
And I'll tell her it was recommended by Birdo Prey 5.
5 stars by the Kurogan Movie Certification Board.
That doesn't surprise me. And yeah, I will tell you, Commodore Ty, when they made Tilly the XO.
Really?
Yeah. I remember now, Darren. Do you remember? Do you remember, Darren, that I predicted that they were going to make Tilly the XO, despite the fact that that's ridiculously stupid?
I distinctly remember you saying that, and I said, you know what, it would be totally in keeping with Generation 3 Trek to do.
Guess what? Yeah, Tilly is the XO now.
Yeah, you notice her. She not only she looks terrible this season. Not just the weight gain. I can deal with that, but her makeup is different. It's like they put a lot of eyeliner on her. She almost looks like she's got an alcohol problem.
Well, and you know guess what? Not only is acting first officer. Like, what the hell does that even mean? Either she's the first officer or she's not. You know,
they don't.
Michael's going to get it back soon.
They don't even.
Yeah, they don't. They don't get how it works, and they still won't say first officer. They still just call it number 1, and even the crew is like, "Oh, take the job, be our number 1." It's like, you idiots!
Yeah, and they don't understand that an acting ensign is one thing, but you don't have an acting anything else. You know, you're either the captain or you're not. You're either the first officer or you're not.
Right.
And an acting ensign was just, was a temporary thing. It was somewhat similar to a warrant officer, to be honest. It was just a different term for it used in the British Navy. But it's unfortunate. The show is just so unresearched.
Yeah,
that's one of my biggest problems with it.
It wouldn't take much to figure this out.
Star Trek fans wouldn't make these kind of mistakes because they watch the show because they like the show. These guys aren't watching the show probably because they don't like the show.
Well, they don't care about science fiction. They just want to, and that scene, Joseph. So you know how everybody loves Michael Burnham, right? And one thing that I have been saying is that for some reason this season they're trying to make everybody as awesome as Michael Burnham. So now Tilly has to, like, each episode somebody has to talk about how awesome Tilly is. And of course Tal knows everything and redesigned the spore drive in one day. You know, the same day she first gets access to it. Pretty impressive. And so everybody is awesome, right? So Tilly is offered the position of acting executive officer, but they don't say that. They call it acting number 1, which isn't even a thing. And And so after he offers her the position, she's all flustered by it. And so he says, you think about it. She tells Stamets. Stamets tells everybody. And then the entire crew, I don't know how they do this, they abandon their posts because there's no one at the helm. There's no one at ops. There's no one at tactical. While, by the way, they're on a mission at Vulcan, which at this point is hostile towards the Federation. But they all abandon their posts so they can stand together in engineering, holding hands, saying, Tilly, please be our number one.
But it's not Vulcan anymore.
Right. It's like Leklar or whatever. I don't know.
Navar.
Yeah.
Which
And
was
Indy,
the name of a ship in Enterprise.
and Indy Tiger throws $10 in. Thank you, my friend. Says, did the writers of Disco learn to have another character say that only Michael can do the things she needs doing? Is that their takeaway from criticism? No. Here's the bad thing. They say that too.
Okay,
There's
I gotta turn my
actually.
headset down.
Sorry, my friend. There's actually a scene. I shit you not. That's how bad I am. I'm gonna say it. I shit you not. There is actually a scene where the chief of Starfleet tells Michael she's the only one that can save their relationship with the planet formerly known as Vulcan. Because she is the sister of Spock.
You just need to stop watching the show. This should be your last season. I honestly think that this is I can't imagine what this is doing to your blood pressure.
Well, but what would the alcohol companies do without this
I
shit?
suppose, yeah. You can't do that to them. Yeah. But there's another YouTuber from England named Heels versus Babyface.
And, I've seen him.
Yes, I have enjoyed him. I've watched him for years since he was a WoW guy. He did a review of this episode this morning, and one thing that he pointed out was that what they've done is they've basically made it so that all the main characters are these minority characters. If you consider Tilly a minority, which
women and minority characters,
right. But it's like you have all the cool kids on the ship are these three women, I guess you'd call them, Michael, Tilly, and Tall now, and probably Jet Reno too once in a while, and then there's everybody else on the ship. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like they've segregated and elevated the groups that they want to segregate and elevate.
Right. Well, are there even any white men on the ship? I mean, straight white men.
Well, we don't know. I mean,
are we talking about Discovery?
Discovery, yeah.
There was a random white dude in the background of those characters telling Tilly to say yes.
Okay.
Who I had never seen before.
I'm sure that he'll die soon.
Or turn out to be,
gay or something.
Something, yeah. He'll be a vegan, or I don't know.
Yeah, something. Yeah, he'll either be something redeemable in their eyes, or he will die,
right?
Or he'll just remain in the status of being an extra.
Oh, maybe he was Gene. Was that Gene?
Oh, yeah,
no, not Gene.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was him or not. He looked a little more manlier than Gene.
Yeah, well, I think Gene was a one-off there, but because we can't have any straight white men on the show. Of course, Gene could be gay. We don't know.
But the fact that we're even sitting here speculating on this is the show has gotten what it wanted. If that's the case.
Well, I don't know. The show is, I mean, if what they want is a show that pisses off the classic fans, which I don't understand that. I mean, I understand they may have, and I'm sure they do have their new fans of the show, which is, there are people that will watch this show, but they're also alienating a huge swath of their classic fans. How many people have said that they're not gonna watch, or they're not gonna pay to see this show, right?
Yeah.
And so and so that's, if you just produced real Trek, then honestly, you would have a huge fan base because you have a built-in audience with Trek.
My fervent desire at this point is, okay, at this point, it's obvious to me that Paramount is not going to buy out, or Viacom isn't going to buy out Secret Hideout's contract. They're going to just let it ride for as long as they for as long as they have to until the contract runs out, and then they're going to retool.
All right, everybody hang on to your genitals. Here he comes. How you doing, Alexander?
I'm fine.
Sorry.
Alexander.
I mean, I was looking at the Deep Space Nine documentary again, and I'm looking at the Ronald D. Moore is still relatively young. He could be the showrunner of a new Star Trek show, and
but I don't think he wants to be.
Well, it depends. He's still a Star Trek fan. If they gave him the kind of control that he had on Battlestar Galactica, for example, and that was part of the deal. And there's a lot of variables here. I'm just saying, best case scenario, right?
But you're also forgetting about the fact that Ronald D. Moore is just as Batwoman crazy as anybody else in Hollywood. He really, he is a Hollywood liberal. He just.
I'm looking at his track record with Star Trek.
I understand. Yeah. I get that, but Patrick Stewart was a big part of classic.
He was not. He was not creative. He was not part of the. He wasn't a showrunner. He was literally a dancing monkey in front of the camera. That's what he was.
And Vector, thank you. Vector puts in $5. Says, "Happy you watched the show for me. Honestly, get more kick out of watching your reviews than I did watching season 1 and 2. Happy American Thanksgiving." Thank you, Vector. I will do a regular review, but I'm going to do it tomorrow. And so the reason I didn't do it today was because it was Thanksgiving. When I wasn't online earlier, then I was hanging out with my family. And speaking of family, we have Ensign Ricky and Tim Christ are in the room. How you guys doing?
Yeah.
Happy Turkey Day.
So Ensign Ricky,
you guys don't like Discovery? What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah. Well, you've been a defender of the show.
Well,
you know what? I still don't think it's that bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than season 1 and 2. But I mean,
how can? Well, okay, then what's bad then, Ensign Ricky?
Well, new bread is better than moldy bread.
I think season 1 is probably their season 1 is probably the worst season 1 of all.
Oh, I'll agree that season 1 overall was worse.
Yeah,
but you've been
season 1. I'm just saying, as far as like them developing characters and actually trying to do Star Trek, they're actually doing a halfway decent job. So I mean, but there's only so much you can give to some of these characters that have already been played out, like Michael. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like you just have to accept the fact that Michael's gonna save the show probably most of the time because that's what Kirk
most
did.
of the time.
But you don't. Yeah. First of all, it's not most of the time. It is all the time. Second of all, no, you don't have. You know what? They could fix that in the next episode. There's several ways they can fix it. First of all, they could have had the balls to do what they kept hinting at and have her run off with Book and have her off the show. Bam, problem solved.
I mean, I'd be all for that. I might actually watch the Michael Book show for sure. I mean, because she's a different character when she's just with him.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the funny thing is that with Book, it's more like in season 2 when she was with Spock. I actually, I caught a lot of crap for it, but I actually liked some of the scenes with Burnham and Spock because they fought like siblings, and it felt real. But what was that?
I'm sorry. You know what my biggest issue with the episode was? Now, every time we've ever had any kind of cultural interaction with Vulcan, it's had to happen on the planet. So, for example, Spock being reinserted into his, in Star Trek 3, they had to go to the planet. They had to go to the temple. They had to go to certain locations.
When
Spock was fighting for his wife, or future wife, whatever, they had to go to a temple location. And everything happened on the ship. It was as if they didn't want to spend the money on a set.
Yeah. Well, you can see all the money went to season 3 Discovery. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm seeing well, I would love to, as a fan, I would have loved to have seen what Vulcan looked like 900 years in the future.
Well,
And
here's the thing. I mean, like,
And then they changed the
there's a
name
lot
of
of
Vulcan,
good
so it's not
stuff.
Vulcan anymore.
There's a lot of good stuff, I think, on the show. Like some of the improvements of the 20 or 32nd century, like programmable matter and stuff that makes sense, and bets that kind of fold open for you as you want them. And aspects like that, I love the show for. You know what I'm saying? I think that the technology and it's pretty fucking cool.
I'll give you that the programmable matter concept is cool, and
But it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It's a logical stuff.
Right, but the writing is still god awful.
It's bad, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
I disagree. But first of all, Secret Hideout donated $1. Secret Hideout wanted to say in all caps, "Back off, Darren. We don't care what you think about us. Hail Berto Prey."
Hey, stay off Bird of Prey's side, Secret Hideout.
Why? That's. I mean,
That's,
it would.
No.
It would make sense that they would side with Berto
They're
Prey.
Turdistanis all way.
They no. They are definitely not
They absolutely
Turdistanis.
are. Yeah.
Turdistans believes in good writing, and we are not getting any kind. And that's the problem for me. I dig what you're saying, Ensign Ricky, as far as the tech of Discovery. I like what they've done in this season with it.
Well, they're doing some things right, and they're not doing.
But for me,
they're saying the same with the others.
But for me, Star Trek is always about the writing first. That's and if the writing is not good, I can't enjoy it, no matter how cool something may be. And by the way, I gotta say, the best musician on YouTube is with us, Piano Dean. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
He's alive.
Yay!
I'm nervous because you're sitting by your piano. You got something to do there?
Oh no.
I just wrote in the last 15 minutes. I wrote a little song about Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, okay.
This is just off the top of my head. This won't get a copyright strike. And I don't watch. I watch seasons 1 and 2, but I don't watch the new one. You guys take on the new one is all I need. So the song goes like this.
He's got band-aids on his arm.
Discovery sucks. It's not worth the $6. It's written by a bunch of cocks. I don't even give two.
Bravo, D. I'll tell you what, D. You record that, get it to me. I will use it before all of my Discovery reviews moving forward.
I will see what I can do. That shouldn't take too long to put that together. But I just wanted to pop on real quick and see if I could do that.
Piano Dean, I've been meaning to ask you, what can you tell me about the submersible honkies?
Well, that was just back in the early '90s when I was in college, and me and a good buddy of mine who's about 10 years older than me. He was already working as an airline pilot, but he was a great musician. Mm-hmm. We just used to get together and play music and write music all the time, and that was just he wanted to do a song called. He was big into sailing, and so one day he and I and another friend of ours, 3 white guys, we all went sailing and said, wouldn't it be funny if the boat sank? And we just decided, hey, well, we're definitely 3 submersible honkies. So we ended up writing a song called Submersible Honkies. There's a whole story to it, So
wow.
I could probably do we were going to redo it, but it fell through. But I could redo a little version of it in the next day and probably put it up.
I could probably write a fucking whole album of songs for Discovery. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, like, just
that's the story behind Submersible Honkies. That's what I.
Thank you for sharing that story with me.
Oh, you're definitely. I'm going to let you guys have it. I just wanted to pop on and do that real quick.
Hey, D, you're always welcome, my friend. Thanks for dropping by.
Hey, thanks, you guys. So I'll be listening for a while. So.
All right.
So you guys got to remember also we've got this other thing on the horizon called Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
Which has
potential,
but then does it really? Because of who's making it.
It's got the bad taste of everything else that came before.
Yeah, if it turns into Star Trek Discovery with just a slightly different coat of paint on it, then
right.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing, though, and this is the only thing that makes me slightly optimistic about it is that this show is basically everything that was good about season 2 of Discovery without Michael Burnham. And so that could be a good thing. Dreamers out there, by the way, yes, says Unification 3 was garbage of the highest order. Agreed, my friend.
Garbage of the highest order.
And by the way, for since Thomas was saying you don't know that it's really part 3 of Unification, they showed a clip from Unification part 2. So yes, this was part 3.
Oh,
I want to know how they got that video.
Yeah, well, that's we were talking about that earlier because there was no one in the room to record when he was telling that to Picard, and so but that's why apparently Picard was like Nixon and just recording everything that was around him.
Yeah, Major Grin did a video about that this morning.
Yeah,
It
it doesn't make much sense.
Minute and a half long video showing the differences between the recording that Burnham listened to, which was heavily edited, and the message was modified.
Oh yeah,
due to the editing.
way modified. They cut out a lot of stuff.
Don't you remember they knew where the hideout was the whole time?
I want to see more Scooby Doo.
Wait, you mean the secret hideout?
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. That's so yeah. But so what you want to see more? You want more Scooby Doo, like what they did in the Earth episode?
I mean, if you're gonna copy something,
they should. Yeah. So Michael Burnham should get a pet dog that talks. I mean, it's the 32nd century.
You gotta have the side-scrolling run. The Shaggy run and all that.
Well, with these instant transporters, they could run in a door, out another door, in another door, out another door, using their personal transporters. That's totally realistic. That could work.
And after watching Spectre of the Gun, I kind of want to see the Discovery crew have a Western adventure somehow, and it being all about how terrible the American West was, with no redeeming qualities. They'd rather be in the Spanish Inquisition or something, just because it would be so predictably bad and cringy.
Yeah. And not only did Michael Burnham inspire Spock to be who he became, but the Vulcans / Romulans from the 32nd century were so impressed by Michael Burnham that they said, "Oh, now we understand why Spock was able to inspire our people to reunify."
Wow.
I'm not making that up, Darren. That is in the episode.
Come on, let's get with the A plot now. Tilly becoming first officer. That's the A plot.
Oh, Momo donated $1. Thank you, Momo. Momo says, "Hello, Alexander. I missed you, my love. Let Alexander pick a super chat."
Is that what Momo sounds like?
I don't know what Momo sounds like, so
I thought Momo
I'll play 7 of 9 at the end of the stream, and so
I always pictured Momo sounding more like that, but wait guy from your videos.
But wait, actually, Discovery is the best Star Trek.
Yeah,
neutral.
Wow,
you do that a little too well.
Thank you.
Why?
Lots and lots of practice.
Yes, angry nerd troll.
This is exactly what Momo the Challenger thinks of Discovery.
Momo the Challenger.
Yeah. So Momo likes Discovery. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And you know this because you sit down and watch Discovery with Momo.
No.
Well, that's what it sounds like. Is
they're really good friends.
He's
Alexander
the
and
worst of
Momo.
the worst. And this is why he likes bad things. He doesn't like quality movies like Jonah Hex, Momo. He has no taste.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure that Momo just loves you.
No.
Well, that's what Momo said in Momo's super chat.
He's a liar.
Why would Momo lie?
Because he wants that we do his challenge. And if we do his challenge, we'll die.
Well, I don't do his challenge because I'm don't want to, but
I don't want to, but you want to tell me that.
but you did do the Momo challenge. You confirmed that. Like that's when.
Dun.
No, I'm
Yeah.
still alive. I'm still alive. It's impossible. I'm alive.
Whoa. Does the Momo challenge kill you?
Yes.
According to Alexander, yes.
Everybody that's
So lost.
Yeah. What if the rules change?
Darren.
I think Alexander's lost.
No.
We just off the rules. We you know.
No more challenger is the enemy of the civilization.
Enemy of civilization? That's pretty deep. That's some deep state shit right there, buddy.
So I still the whole Momo thing kind of confuses me too. So don't feel bad.
I mean, I thought it was just to scare people. Now he's saying it kills you. I have no clue.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you do have to realize that it's Alexander.
Is it like a Slender Man thing?
That's what I'm saying. Was it a Slender Man part of this?
he doesn't kill people. He pushes people to do some challenge where people are dying. That's the
He pushes people to do it. Was he like Jigsaw?
yes. He say to
But-
people a challenge, but we don't know what is a challenge because everybody died.
Wow.
Okay. Now I'm coming a little more clear on this.
Oh yeah.
Still makes 0 sense to me, but that's okay.
Momo.
Darren says, please ask, or I'm sorry, Dreamers Out There says, please ask Darren how he would have felt if his sub needed a new first officer and the captain made the lowest ranked officer on board into the new XO.
Nepotism.
Well, nepotism. No, that's between family members. But we had an ensign on board our boat. He was when you first come on board, you're a nub. Doesn't matter if you're an officer or an enlisted guy. And this guy was dumber than my hind end. But he was an Annapolis War college grad. So I mean he knew his stuff. He was going to be a serving line officer. He wasn't like a Mustang or anything. But one time I caught him because there's a microwave oven in the pantry, which is the little makeshift kitchen where the food is prepped and made to look really pretty for when it's served to the officers in the wardroom. And then there's the regular galley where the food is prepared for the rest of the crew, and we just go to a window and order it like a cafeteria. The officers get served like they're in a restaurant. So, Ensign, I'm going to call him Ensign Johnson. Okay. He,
which is his real name, by the way. He's just saying, I'm going to call him that to throw you off.
Yeah. Ensign Johnson comes out of the wardroom with a plate of food that he wants to reheat, and the microwave in the pantry is already being used for something else. He comes out into the crew's mess and use ours. Now, there's a difference between the plates that the crew uses and the ones that the officers use. The ones that the officers use have a metal rim around them. How many people know where I'm going with this now?
Oh God.
Okay, yeah. And he thought nothing of going in there and putting it in, and he almost hit the power button on the microwave when about 5 guys on the that were happening to be in the crew's mess were like, sir, I know you're not putting that plate in the microwave. And at first he thought that they were just mad at him because they were using he was using their quote microwave. And he didn't get it at first, and we explained it to him 3 times that you will start a fire if you do that, because there's metal in there, and he looked at it, and then he was going to reach for the power button again, and finally the WEPs, which is what we call the weapons officer, what you would call tactical officer on Star Trek, the WEPs comes in and has heard the whole thing from down the hall and down the passageway, and Ensign Johnson almost didn't make Lieutenant JG because of that, and his attitude changed quite a bit after that. But if he had been made XO,
Yeah.
Leapfrogging, of course, the nav, the engineer, the WEPs, not to mention the current XO. Yeah, there would have been a lot of worried people because he hadn't, he didn't have the necessary experience or knowledge yet to have anything like that kind of responsibility.
Now, when you say we had an ensign, was he the only ensign on your ship?
There's usually only one, and he only stays an ensign for about 7 months to a year.
Right, because ensign is basically you're on probation.
Well, basically, that's what you're. Okay, you come out of the Naval Academy, you're an ensign.
It would be like a cadet, right?
No, a cadet would be like a midshipman. A cadet is a student at Annapolis Naval Academy.
Right.
Gotcha.
The Navy calls them midshipmen, and if you remember from Star Trek II, Peter Pressman was actually referred to himself as midshipman, first class. Right. That's the actual nautical name for a person going to the Naval Academy. Cadet sounds cooler, so that's why because space cadet, that kind of thing. So that's why Star Trek uses it.
For how many years that Ensign Ricky is ensign?
Right.
He's not so good at it.
But this is
Ensign Kim.
Yeah. Ensign Kim being an ensign after 7 years was, even in Starfleet, ridiculous.
Yes.
Because she could have given him any number of promotions. Even just one would have been fine, just so that, just to boost his morale.
I mean, like the shitty thing is that Tom gets a promotion, a demotion, and a promotion.
Yeah.
And Ensign Kim doesn't get shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What did they do? Make him the laundry officer? I mean, he's Asian, but that's a joke. That's a dated piece of humor. But an ensign. Okay, this is what was so infuriating to me about Star Trek 2009 was the idea that Pike would have made an ungraduated cadet or midshipman in this case. The executive officer of his ship, bypassing Spock, who was qualified and taught at the academy and all this kind of stuff, is ridiculous. And he did it based on his academic scores and who his dad was.
Right.
That's it. And I'm sorry, but Kirk hadn't done much more than screw up so far. There was nothing in his personal record that qualified him for that position. Nothing said promote me to second in command of your prestigious ship. And this is where I think a lot of where you can tell it's being written by civilians.
Well, not just written by civilians, but written by civilians that don't even bother to do any cursory research. That's the problem.
Right. Yeah.
I understand that I don't have a full understanding of how the Navy works, but even just based on my knowledge of Trek, I wouldn't have done some of the things they've done here, like making Tilly the lowest ranked person on the ship, making her the first officer. When you have multiple commanders, you have multiple lieutenants. Why is Tilly promoted above them all? Because Saru apparently just wants to pick the least qualified person. In a real sense, Awashakun should be pissed because as basically the operations officer, she was probably next in line. The ship doesn't really have an engineer the same way that other shows have had, but I guess Tilly now is the engineer. But the other black woman on Star Trek Discovery, whom I actually think is the most interesting character on the show. You're talking about the navigator?
Awashakun, yeah.
Yeah, I like her.
She would have been. She should have been pissed. All these actors should be pissed,
right?
But they're and that's another thing. You couldn't have Saru being accused of favoritism or racism or whatnot, by Awashakun, and that would,
I don't know what the black guy's name is on the show, but we finally get the Ensign Kim like guy is Reese.
Oh, isn't that Ray's? No, wait.
Reese.
Well, that's
the Canadian.
The Canadian guy, yeah. Patrick Kwok Chun, yeah.
See, I get the problem is they don't have characters; they're just part of the set.
Right.
They're actually part of the set, pretty much. Those two dudes in the back that do navigation or whatever they do back there.
Well,
Those-
they're one of them is like sensors. It looks like, and the other one is tactical.
right, and they're basically props. I mean,
Yeah.
they get like
Yeah.
a word here
They-
or there.
They don't
Aye, Captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, they mean they mean nothing.
now and then.
They don't check off enough boxes. That's the
I like
problem.
Darren's video on the Asian guy in that. That was
Oh
pretty
yeah, who's clearly Canadian. I love that. Because he is actually Canadian, right? So
Yes.
Yeah, so
I looked that up. I'm like, oh, great. That gives me something, a little funny thing to say.
yeah.
I've got a friend who is a public defender, and he's Canadian.
Yeah.
He's Canadian.
Is that like a black Tino?
I suppose.
But the problem is that they're the producers, the writers, everybody on the show is so concerned about the message that they're not concerned about the story.
Yeah, it's a platform now. And what's funny is they'll tell you that's what it's always been. It's like, no, it managed to be an interesting and fun show for everybody while doing that.
Right.
Even staunch conservatives like the show. Not Discovery, but like the other shows. I mean, maybe not Voyager so much, but Mark Stein, prominent conservative in the conservative media, he is a huge Star Trek fan.
Oh yeah.
Well, heck, what's his name? Now I'm forgetting his name. Ted Cruz. He's a big Star Trek. Oh yeah. He actually, in an article, was saying that he felt that Kirk was probably a Republican, and Picard was a Democrat, and then he went on, and he went on to say that both of them show the best of what those political parties can be.
Wasn't it Ted Cruz that had that speech where he was countering the Green New Deal, and he was putting up like posters of like Star Wars stuff? Like he said that a new way of transporting ourselves across the icy north was like tauntauns and stuff. Wasn't that Ted Cruz that did that?
I don't remember that.
Hell. It was so funny. You can find it on YouTube.
But the thing is that, and this is where I think a lot of people, particularly people on the far left, what they really don't understand is that Star Trek is not a flagrantly liberal show for the most part. There are sections of Star Trek that are, like when you look at the first season of TNG, but for the most part, Star Trek is fairly, like especially the original series is really more. It's just egalitarian. Which the ironic thing is that the modern day liberals hate egalitarianism because they want everything to be quota-sized so that you have representation. And so rather than egalitarianism, which they find offensive, they believe that people should in fact be promoted based on race, religion, all that. And it's just that not the majority race, religion, whatever,
Right.
And that's the difference. I mean, egalitarianism is a good thing. And the idea, and how many times in the original series did Kirk tell someone, something to the effect of, where I'm from, it doesn't matter how tall you are. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what you believe as far as your religion. That kind of thing is not what you're judged on. And so, but in Discovery, we see the opposite of that. And every time a white guy shows up, it's like, oh, better kill him.
Yeah, it's they.
And Ensign Mansplain was just the worst. Sorry, but yeah, Ensign Mansplain.
That was the worst example. Yeah.
Well, here's the problem, especially when it comes to race. It's an industry. There's something that some people will call the race industry, where you have to have something to rail against. There's people that make a living, professional, living as essentially social agitators.
Right.
And Rush Limbaugh likes to call Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson the Justice Brothers. they're in business with each other for to try to keep essentially keep racism alive, and they. There was and Londell and I were talking about this one time. There was a point in the '80s where we had it almost licked. It seemed like, and people were starting to question the need for, Al Sharpton's organization and stuff, and then the goalposts had to be moved in order to accommodate that race industry.
Right.
And now now look at where we're at. You'd think that.
And here's the funny thing. Now, Dreamers out there says Discovery has segregated the crew. You've got all the LGBTQs, and then you got Burnham and Book, then you got everyone else who's set dressing. But here's the funny thing about that is if they want to be if the whole point of this show, which it seems to be that the whole point of the show is just to show off how progressive they are, why the hell is Burnham with a black guy?
They're pretty regressive. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what they had to bring in a black character, so because when they had Ash on there, that was too much. We can't have her with a white guy. Well, actually, he's Middle Eastern.
He wasn't just a black guy; it's a black guy with abs. Get it right.
Was he also? I think he was a British black guy too.
Yeah, he's British, but I guess that's his diversity box. But but at the same time, I'm just saying, why did they have to bring in a black guy to be her love interest? That is like the ultimate stereotype. And how many TV shows have we seen it where if there's a main black character, we got to bring in a black person of the opposite sex for them to fall in love with?
It's like the Love Boat. Every time there was a black woman on the Love Boat, it's an Isaac episode, right?
Yeah.
The crew member who is black, and it had to be that, and I mean, you look at TNG and how much better it was, where Geordi was having relationships with Hispanic women and white women, and I mean, they weren't successful relationships.
Christy, whatever her name was,
yeah.
She was
Geordi was a player.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Lamar on Orville when he the captain comes to his quarters to see if he wants to do something.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Right? A woman wearing nothing but an unbuttoned shirt.
She is the hottest ensign of all mankind.
And
Turco.
I mean, that was some funny stuff.
And they brought her back to give her more parts. That's awesome.
And Indy says, why can't Michael have a girlfriend? Well, because, we don't want to make her gay for some reason.
She's baseline bisexual, anti-tracker.
Oh, is that what they're saying?
We were told, all Starfleet. They're baseline bisexual.
I'm waiting for somebody on Discovery to start dating like a dog or something.
Right?
I thought Tilly was talking for the cat.
Fuck it. Just fucking go with the full.
Well, the worst thing, and boy, I can't wait till I get to this in my Everything Wrong With series, is when Tilly actually makes a fat joke about the cat. Holy crap. Really, you're going to go there?
You're going to fat shame the cat, huh?
Tilly, the character who looks like she ate another character, was sitting. She made a joke because I don't know if you've seen Grudge the cat, but Grudge is a Mancoon, very big cat.
Maine Coon. Yeah.
Or Maine Coon, and so she's holding the cat, and she's like, "Did you eat Michael?"
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, you're gonna fat shame a cat with the fat character. That's just where
you
they
act
go.
like you're surprised by this.
See, nothing surprises me about the show now. It's like they've exhausted my. My
suspension of disbelief.
No, they've exhausted my hope that it could turn things around. I mean, they had the opportunity at some point to say this was an alternate reality from the Prime Star Trek, and they didn't. And they've,
and now they've shown actual footage from TNG to show that yes, it is definitely in the same universe as TNG.
I overestimated the writers this week because I honestly didn't think they would make Tilly first officer. I was like, that's a stretch even for them.
Nope. Yeah, they went for it.
They did it.
They're like, what is the dumbest choice Saru could possibly make? Tilly, go for it.
Yeah.
Nobody will see that coming. It'll subvert
if
their
they were
expectations.
If they were
Tilly
smart, they
is
could redeem that choice by having her completely and utterly screw up, and then it costs Saru his command.
That would be wonderful, but it ain't. But it ain't gonna happen.
Oh, it's not going to happen.
The problem is even if they did do that, then they would just make Michael the captain at that point.
It had been better to put Neelix instead.
And by the way, you realize that, and this is another beautiful, beautiful Star Trek Discovery moment where, remember how one of the things I went off about in season 1 actually was that Saru was angry with Michael but worshiping her at the same time. Where he was trying to hold a grudge because he blamed Michael for the death of Georgiou, which, by the way, they did bring up in this episode, interestingly enough. But they blame, he blamed Michael for the death of Georgiou, and so he's like, yeah, Michael, I can't trust you. You're horrible. You're bad. And then Captain Lorca walks into the room. What do you think of Burnham? She's the single greatest officer I've ever worked with. Wait, what? You were just talking about how she caused the death of your last captain.
Yeah.
But now they doubled down on that this time because in the last episode they finished the episode with the chief of Starfleet almost dressing down Burnham, but instead he has Burnham dress down herself because a man couldn't possibly dress down Burnham, so she's got to do it herself. I'm not making that up, Darren.
Notice
the
emotion doesn't.
Well, then they started up with her beating up the white dude in the holographic simulation.
Well, that's true, but yeah. So he stands there and he's like, okay, here it comes, because she disobeyed not only a direct order from the chief of Starfleet, but also a direct order from Saru, hijacked a ship, and went on a risky mission to try and get some information without confirming with anybody what she was doing, right? So imagine if someone took a nuclear submarine without permission to accomplish some kind of mission. Right. Well, I'm just saying, imagine if that happened.
They got the fucking ship off the ship.
Right. And T. Stoney puts $5 in, says, "Happy Thanksgiving, Michael and company. Let's have some Quantum, not Turkey Day without naked lore." We're gonna play. Well, I'm gonna play that as well as the Voyager one in a few minutes before we wrap up. So
I need your help, all of you. I need your help.
Well, hold on. You just a minute, Alexander. So Burnham steals the ship. And she and disobeying orders from her captain and the commander of Starfleet itself.
Yeah.
So just to kind of set the stage there for you, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what happens next? Well, he's standing over. You're like, okay, here it comes, and he just stands there and goes, okay. Tell me, I'm not going to even say it. You tell me what I'm going to say. And so then she proceeds to dress herself down, and he just kind of agrees and says, your punishment is nothing. Instead, yeah, you're capped. He hands it over to Saru, and then Saru's punishment was that she's no longer first officer, but she's still a commander. She's still the highest ranking officer on the ship, but she's just no longer the XO.
What I was saying is, like, she never lost her rank. She's
right.
Still a commander. What the hell?
So
I'd have busted her to lieutenant.
Yeah, there is.
But it gets better. It gets better. Okay, so we got that big dramatic scene. The chief of Starfleet hates Burnham, is really pissed off about what she's doing, all that crap, right? So now in this episode, Chief of Starfleet comes up and he's like, I don't like the way you disobeyed orders, but you're the only person who can save the world because you're the sister of Spock, so we're going to send you to Vulcan to make nice with the Vulcans and Romulans, and sends her off to save the world.
The funny thing is, the planet's named Navarre, and that's the city I live in Florida.
Oh man!
So I'm sorry. So Alexander, you were saying you needed help.
I need help because now I'm in a afraid to watch all the B movie, like the Mad Max ripoff, the RoboCop ripoff, the Terminator ripoff of the 80s. But when I was in the 90s, I watched a movie in French, but that's an American movie, and I tried to find it, with the title that was in French, but I find nothing. So I will explain a little bit what is the movie. Maybe someone can give me the title in English, and at that case, I will be able to find it.
Okay, what's the movie?
That's a B movie. That's a B movie. Like it's after the Russian Civil War, post-Soviets. Like
Red Dawn.
in the what?
Red Dawn.
What is no. Red Dawn.
Red Dawn is where the Russians invade the United States.
No. That's that. And after that, like they are a guy is like a veteran of the Civil War in Russia, but is in the United States, and he's a cop. And now he search for because they find like a girl that have been killed and raped, and after that he find another girl that has the same genetic code exactly. So this is a clone, and finally they find that they are like clones because they are like a mad scientist, and the mad scientist like he clone himself in women version to do tests because with the mafia they want to do like kidnap a porn star and clone her.
You lost me, man. I have no freaking idea.
This is really weird. I know this might make people wonder about me, but I actually think I know what he's talking about, but I can't place the name of the movie.
Yes, they want to sell that clones of that porn star.
I want to say it's something like Cyborg, but I'm not sure.
Cyborg with Van Damme.
In French, it was
no. There's another one. There's a cheap version of that. It's not Van Damme.
So Indy Tiger puts $5 in. Thank you, Indy, and says Michael also spies on Trill Girl because she knows about the song that Trill Girl plays when Trill Girl is alone in her quarters. That's true. So yeah, it's funny. They keep coming up with these plot points and then forgetting to talk about them. Because they did not mention. Now apparently Detmer is just fine. Everything's groovy with her, no problems whatsoever. Even though they spent the first freaking episode with her, the entire episode was focused on how she's acting strangely and something is wrong, something is weird. No, she's fine.
I think she got shook up.
But the problem is that you know what? And I would say from a realism perspective, sure, she was shell-shocked. She was, PTSD, whatever you want to call it. The stress of piloting the ship through the wormhole was more than she could handle, so she was stressed, right? But from a dramatic perspective, they made a big-ass deal out of this. Yeah. And she kept saying, no, I'm fine. And the doctor would examine her and said, well, you don't have a concussion. Yeah, I'm fine. And now she's just fine. It's like it never happened. And it's like, what? And so now we had everybody freaking out, or Michael freaking out that everybody knows that mysterious song. Gee, I wonder where they got that idea. Nobody think about All Along the Watchtower, please. But where everybody knows the same song for some reason. And in this episode, never even mentioned. I mean, you would think when she's trying to convince the chief of operations of Starfleet that they've got to figure out this mystery, that, hey, have you noticed that everybody knows this song? I think it might have something to do with it. But no, not a single line. And by the way, Dreamer's out there, throws $5 in. Thank you, Dreamer. And says, Anti-Trekker, how did you like seeing the Romulan war nuns of truth for Picard and finding out Picard creepily filmed Spock without his consent? Yeah, that was awesome. And not only that, not only do we have the Romulan war nuns, but apparently Michael's mom is so awesome that she became one as an old lady, apparently in a year or two at the most. How did that happen?
All of a sudden, poof, she's there.
By the way, that would be a better series, just following how Michael Burnham's mom became a war nun. I want to see that story. I don't care about what's going on with the Discovery. How did Michael Burnham's mom become a war nun?
But
very convenient.
I would say the end of the movie, and in that case, maybe people will be able to find it. Okay. So then the
If
movie.
anybody finds out the name of that movie, please put it in the chat. I have no idea what it is.
Okay. The end of the movie is that finally they succeed to beat the mafias and all that stuff, except the mad scientist. And the mad scientist went in court because he was accused of murder.
Mouthy says, could it be the Clonus horror?
Yes, look. And finally, he's actually...
No, that's the name of a movie.
No, it's not the name. And finally, he got not guilty because he killed his own clones, and it was like his own genetic code, so he has the right to do everything he wants. But the problem is that one of the clone that's still alive, a girl whose clone is still alive.
Just saying, Alexander, Life with Matthew donated $1 and said, that movie sounds awesome. Let's watch it next week.
You're right, dude.
I want to know what this movie is.
And finally,
I do too. I mean, it sounds familiar, and I only know this because I used to rent like the B grade section at Premiere Video up in our area, where we had like scores of VHS, like crappy VHSs. So I was like, oh, I wonder what this one is. So
Thomas, your delay is on because I read that before I saw your chat there that said I missed a donation.
The final is that they are like still a clone alive with like the cops when the mad scientist went out of the court and he said, okay, I take back my property, but the girl clone, she's still a gun and she killed him. And everybody started to laugh and said, oh,
I have no idea, man. I have no clue what you're talking about.
But I want to find it.
I know you want to find it, but I don't know what the hell it is. And by the way, T. Stoney puts $2 in, says there must be some kind of way out here. I'm not sure what he means by that. Although I did like Anthroparion said that the episode title should have been "My Mom is a Ninja."
My mom is a ninja.
Well, that's
Silenese a ninja.
Huh?
Silenese is a ninja.
In fact, they just wanted to do a crossover with Warrior Nun.
Well, the Warrior Nuns are a thing from Picard, and honestly, I'm actually surprised they didn't try to figure that Elrond was still alive. We know Vulcans live a long time, so maybe Romulans live for 1,000 years, and so they could have Elrond around.
But this is
maybe Elrond became like a leader, a disciple.
Yeah. Aurelia. But guys, we need to find a movie.
Maybe he's still guarding Picard.
What's this wee shit?
Oh, that's an All Along the Watchtower reference from T. Okay, I didn't get it. I'm sorry, I don't have the lyrics memorized.
Darren, when we'll get the video Gun Gangs in the Submariner perspective?
And Dreams out there says there must be some kind of way out here. The Battlestar Galactica, yeah, with the jump coordinates, yeah. And so, the song is All Along the Watchtower. I did not know the lyrics, so I apologize. But thank you for guys for straightening me out on that. They actually recorded an original version for the Battlestar Galactica. It was the same song, of course, but they didn't use the Hendrix version.
Gotcha.
And said the Joker to the thief. Now that part I heard it. That part I did catch in the song.
Did you saw the Uber Eats commercial with Mark Hamill and Patrick Stewart?
I've seen a couple of them. Yeah, they're all right. They're not the best. I mean, because Patrick Stewart literally sounds like he's fighting to stay alive in the commercial. Yeah. I mean, because it's like Mark Hamill's like, "Ooh, I'm good to order some food," and then it goes over to Patrick Stewart. It's like, and I'm like, "What the hell? Is he still alive or not?" So,
compare Stewart to William Shatner, man. William Shatner is spry as hell.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
My God, the difference is uncanny.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart literally does seem like he has one foot in the grave. And that's one of the reasons that I was against the Picard show in the first place. And the other was because I didn't want to see the character Picard ruined, which,
Yeah.
you know.
we knew it was going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see the series 7 of 9. It will be better.
You want to see what?
A 7 of 9 series.
What makes you think it would be any better? First of all, they crapped all over 7 of 9's character in Picard.
No, because this is 7 of 9, so it will be good.
It's not 7 of 9. That's our point.
Right. And so for some
Just
viewers out there,
because
say,
there's
do you
boobs
think
in the
that
show doesn't make it all good?
do I think
Yeah,
that do I think that
That's where
Captain
Alexander's going.
Yeah. Do I think that Captain Foley and Commander Calkins can defend Unification 3? They can try, but honestly, I mean, I think I know Captain Foley well enough to think that I don't think that even though he tends to not care about the lore as much as he cares about the ships and stuff, which is why he can enjoy Discovery more than I can, and props to him for that. Honestly, if that's what you care about is the ship porn, and you like the design aesthetic of a Discovery, then I could see why you would enjoy that. But I think he will have a tough time with this one.
Maybe,
I think he'll have a tough time because they do, try to talk about what's consistent and what isn't, and there's not much here that's consistent with prior Trek.
in ship porn, there are sometimes specialties like Asian ship or something like that. No, I will not take the Momo challenge.
And thank you, Joe, for sending me that. I will definitely check it out, as horrible as that sounds. So are you watching that at the same time that you're with us? And of course...
Yes, I'm double streaming.
Okay, he's crossing his streams.
I'm just a streaming dirtbag, baby.
But I want to say, speaking about Star Wars a little bit, I want to say that I support Burial Prey in his quest for a Rose Tico series.
Yeah, tell us about that, Bird. Why is it that you want a Rose Tico
I think the
series?
Rose Tico quest is over, Alexander.
No.
I think its time has come and gone.
Don't give up, Bird. We know you want.
I'm giving up.
You started
I'm
the
throwing in the towel.
I remember.
I'll pass it on to you.
You said, I start the movement. I start the movement. You said it.
I started it. Now you can continue it.
The movement is stronger than ever.
The bowel movement?
Alexander,
Wow.
I'm curious. What language are you speaking? Because I don't recognize it.
Wow.
It's not okay to say that.
Why is it not okay to say that?
Because I'm speaking English not so bad.
Well,
In his case, it's pig English.
oh, now, come on.
Well,
bud.
is English your second language?
Yes,
Alexander?
French is your first language, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Well then, I apologize.
It was my second language, but now it's more my third language because I'm speaking more. I'm more fluent in Russian now.
Well, he's got to speak the language of his wife born in the USSR.
But I will speak the Kyrgyz in that case because this is our first language. Is Kyrgyz.
Not his wife yet.
And T
Nothing
and
but respect. It's a lot more languages than I can speak.
yeah. Well,
I
hey,
have trouble with English.
my hat's off to people that speak multiple languages because I can't do it. But I'm dyslexic, and so I have enough trouble just with English.
We know. We've seen you read chat.
Well, you know what?
Also, we've seen you name videos too. That's
No,
okay,
it's
though.
the honest truth. One of the things that I really hate is that 99% of the time, like the programs you use to make graphics, like the thumbnail images and the graphics that pop up on screens, they don't have spell check, and that is the bane of my existence because
Well, you know what I do?
I know.
You know what I do?
Copy and paste.
I write it in something that does have spell check, and then I just when it's
Right.
all correct, then I cut and paste into it.
but then I also run into the problem, and this has happened a few times on my titles and stuff. Is like, for example, there, and there, or
Right,
2, and 2, words like that. Breaks my brain. And by the way, T. Stoney put in $2 and says Star Trek Discovery ships suck too. I don't like the ships of Discovery generally. I'll say this for the 32nd century ships that we've seen so far, they suck. I mean, I'm sorry.
They look like cardboard. I mean,
well, the elephant class ship from Earth looked really stupid, and that's what I'm going to call it forever because that's what it frickin' looks like. It looks like a floating elephant. I hate the design aesthetic of having warp nacelles that just float like 50 meters away from the ship for some reason.
See, I don't mind that, but there has to be a reason for it. I'd like,
right.
But the thing is, I don't think Secret Hideout's going to be able to come up with a compelling reason for it. They just, it's just there, and they'll never explain it. Kind of like so many other things.
It works. Like, how does the energy get to that?
I mean, I would love them to try explaining that.
Is it like having like cordless phone recharging or something? I mean, I'd like to know what the process is.
Yeah, do like the nacelles have to dock with the ship to like power themselves up, or are they just always not connected? And if they're always not connected, how the hell do you feed power from the ship to the nacelle?
We connect in the episode today, because after the Discovery came in the system, the whole thing connected.
I don't remember that, I wasn't paying that close attention.
See, to me, this is sort of an outgrowth of the failed variable geometry warp nacelle experiment that was the Intrepid class.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like where okay, if they're detached from the hull, we can move them anywhere, and for better warp field, whatever. But the thing was though that with Voyager was the only ship we ever saw that did that, and it was not necessary because they fixed that whole warp problem.
Apparently.
Apparently.
Because why not?
I don't know. I think we got to see him in actual battle, to be honest. Because I mean, like when Book's ship was in battle, for instead of it turning around for it to reform and then attack, is way faster, way fucking faster. I mean,
but Book ship. You notice that Book ship is the only ship we've seen that.
But we haven't seen any like Starfleet ships in battle yet. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, who knows if they can all?
Do you really want to see the Donut class and the Elephant class in battle?
Yeah, I want to see the Donut class. I want to see it flip into a black hole and fucking suck people up.
Hey, speaking about donuts, I didn't receive my donut.
Oh yeah, you know what? I need to print you a donut. You're right. And by the way, so because.
But if they all flip like that and reform, yeah, the ships are way more maneuverable detached. Way. Well, we'll see.
I could see that. Like maybe if they make it so that like the ship can move at warp in whatever direction the nacelles are pointing, so that makes it so that you can do really tight maneuvers at warp. Mm-hmm. But you still have to explain what do you have, like 3 reactors then, one on the ship and one on each warp pylon?
Yeah.
Then you'd have just like a permanent tractor beam holding it in position.
Yeah, they're gonna have to explain it, and my feeling is they probably won't because they like messing with the audience.
Ensign Ricky, aren't you? No, you left. You're still here. Why are you putting that in the chat? You just ask him.
What happened?
Why did you put that in the chat?
I might. There are something about everybody.
I didn't put anything in the chat. Oh no, that's the other Ensign Rick. That's the
everybody waits.
There's another Ensign Ricky.
Yeah, I seen him pop up. See, he's Y. I'm EY.
Okay, so who the hell are you, Ensign Ricky? So anyway, the other Ensign Ricky. Yeah, the other Ensign Ricky suggests that it could be the movie Terminal Justice.
One Ricky has an E in his name, and the other Ricky doesn't have the E.
Okay, so hold on. Here is the plot summary for Terminal Justice. This movie was made in 1996, so keep that in mind. In the future of 2008, cybersex can only be surpassed by one thing: cloned women. Especially created for their clients, this puts Pamela Travis, a famous and much sought-after cybersex star, in great danger. Dr. Vivian, scientist and genius in the field of biotechnology, wants her DNA to clone her for his many customers. Sergeant Bobby Chase is assigned to protect her, but can't prevent her from being kidnapped. In order to free Pamela, Chase has to risk his life in a deadly virtual reality game called Hellraiser.
Wow.
Look,
Yeah, I've seen that. Okay, I know what that one is.
Sure to see. I will
That's
watch.
a pretty intense
I just thought that. I think this
synopsis there. You know,
Yeah.
great. I mean, you know, I know that if I was asking for you, I just got 1996. I'm pretty sure. In 2008, cyber sex can only surpass. Yes, that's great. Hey, I have another question. Very important, Michael. There are something that every subscribers are waiting for a long time.
Alexander, hold on. Before you say anything, so look at the stream. You should be able to see the actual poster for it. That should be, is that what you're looking for? You know, and as far as your movie. Sorry to Darren and Jeff for covering you up with the poster. But can you see it yet? I can't see the stream, so I don't know if it's on there yet.
I don't see it, but I have the poster here. I found it on.
Okay. It's Lorenzo Lamas holding a gun like it's.
Lamas, renegade.
I am.
It's up there now.
I found it.
Yeah, it's on the stream right now. So look at the stream right now. Is that the movie you're looking for?
Yes, that's exactly what I have right now on the website, and I found. I'm pretty sure it looked like that because I remember the ears and all that stuff of the guy. He had long ears. Yeah. I'm pretty sure at 100% this is there.
So Ensign Ricky, the other one, you're going to confuse the hell out. You should change your username to Ensign Ricky too.
Yes.
I used to see him on Nerdrotic streams. I see him on.
I don't think the world is ready for two Ensign Rickies.
Yeah. Or how about the other Ensign Ricky?
There are something that everybody, all your
we need a third one now.
Are waiting for a long time, Michael. For a long time, you are waiting for that. And this is your review of Barbies in their.
What? I couldn't make you out. What was that? I couldn't hear you, Alexander.
The review of Barbie.
What? I couldn't hear you.
Did he say something?
I don't know.
I heard he likes to review Barbies.
Barbie.
Oh,
what?
Man.
I
don't know.
The more I hear, the less I want to.
He's a corporate Mattel spy.
Yeah.
We are waiting for months.
I heard what he said. He wants to take the Momo challenge.
No.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. That's what that means, actually. If you say that again, it means you're accepting the Momo challenge.
I thought I heard I want to review Barbies for months.
We are waiting for that review for months.
Well, I'm waiting for him to finish Hulk.
Yeah, I got to finish Hulk first, and I actually got to do Blazing Saddles first, but then, yes, I will get to that horrible movie.
When will you get back to Stargate?
You can know.
You see, I got so many things to do. Honestly, okay, so let me tell you guys.
Hulk?
I just said I'm going to do the Hulk. All right, so let me hold on, guys. Seriously, I'm going to talk serious for just a second about the future of the channel. This is something I'm hoping this works out. If it doesn't, I'm completely screwed. If it does, awesome. And when I say completely screwed, I mean really. Because the company that I work for has an experimental new shift coming up in a couple of months. And I'm in the pilot program for it. And what the shift is you basically lose 7 hours a week. And so that part will be difficult. So I'm going to be paid for 7 hours less each week. I have to hope to God that YouTube makes up for it. Because if not, then I'm completely and royally screwed. But but the nice thing about it is that it is a 3-day work week. So 3 days, 11 hours a day, 33 hours. And so
is the headquarters of your company in Greece or something?
No, the headquarters of the company is in Jersey, actually.
Oh, okay.
But no, but so this is an experiment they're playing with. I was actually one of the people that suggested it, although I suggested 3 12-hour shifts, so there would be 36 hours. But they went with 11, which is that part I'm not a big fan of. But if I can pull this off, that will give me 4 days a week to basically be able to focus on getting YouTube videos, be able to get back to higher caliber YouTube videos, get these reviews done that I've been wanting to do forever. And honestly, the reason that I haven't been working on the Hulk as much and other reviews is they take a lot more time in the writing end than like my Everything Wrong with videos.
What do you mean getting back to the higher quality videos? I'm just kidding.
Are you sure if you drop down to 33 hours, you don't lose your benefits?
Yeah, that was actually part of the deal. Is there's like 3 experimental shifts, and they have a cutoff at 30 hours. So if there's 2 of the shifts are like 20, one's like 25 hours, one's like 28 hours, and then this one's 33. If you're at 33 hours, you still keep the same benefits you get as a full-time employee. However, my vacation time will be prorated based on the number of hours. So it's still the same number of weeks off, but it's prorated so it's less hours of vacation. Because obviously to take a week off, you only need 33 hours, not 40. So if that works out, awesome. If it doesn't work out, God help me.
Guys, I don't understand. I watch on eBay to buy that CD of Terminal Justice, and the only copy I saw is $135.
Wait, what?
I know. I was gonna save my critique of your Hulk videos until you finish the actual review, but I do want to say something about what you've got so far.
Sure.
Okay, in the very first part, you said that you weren't going to compare this show with, the comic book version or anything like that. You're going to review it on its
I
own
said I
merits.
wasn't going to hold it accountable to it being the same character or anything. Like I'm not going to.
That's what you did then immediately following that statement. I mean,
I made some comparisons, but I didn't say that. Oh, this is bad because of it.
You made fun of Lou barely being able to lift the car up over the cliff.
Oh my God.
Because, the problem here is that, and you know this full well, is that later in the same episode, he busts through 6-inch thick steel walls.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if
There's
the
a very
Hulk,
good reason for that.
yeah, his strength is variable to whatever the task at hand is. They always make it. And by the way, I do know about and I think I mentioned it in my review that Lou actually did lift that car.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, the cables were broken, and so originally the Hulk was lifting the car, and it was aided by cables, and that's what they typically do in Hollywood, to make them look like they're super strong. But those cables were broken, so they actually had Lou Ferrigno lift a car and roll it down the hill. And so so I totally buy why Lou couldn't do it, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm not watching Lou Ferrigno. I'm actually watching the Hulk. And so that didn't feel like the Hulk to me. That felt like Lou Ferrigno.
Right, but you wouldn't know that if you weren't comparing it to the other version, which you said you wouldn't do.
No, honestly, granted I did mention that in the comic books and stuff he's way stronger. But but also later in this episode they show that the Hulk is way stronger. So and so what they honestly what they should have done, and I know that they were on a tight time schedule and all that, and I get it, but at the same time, you know what? They should have either cut that shot out, not had it done, or done a reshoot.
No, I don't agree with that at all. There's nothing wrong with that scene. You don't want to have him start out doing things that are too unbelievable. And the Hulk's strength is variable. It's a great example of showing, not telling. Nobody told us that the Hulk's strength was variable in the show. They showed it to us. which is something.
But
that
they
you,
also, I don't think that the Hulk strength is variable in the show because it just seems like no matter what.
It's always variable.
It's
always based on
demonstrated to be variable.
In the show, it's just whatever they're doing.
The lore.
Right.
Well, no, I get, but you see, that's the problem. Is that this, and that's why I said that at the beginning of the review. This is not the comic book Hulk, so we can't use that lore.
Yeah.
This
and
is
yet you're
this is not the
comparing when
MCU Hulk.
But you're comparing. You mocked the character when he lifted the car.
Because
And
they're trying to make
that mockery. You base that mockery on comparison to him with the comic book version.
I get what you're saying, Darren. But
do you not see where I'm going here? I mean,
I do. But you,
Yeah.
but what
Sorry
you
to
seem to be.
cut in. I'm gonna drop out, guys.
All right, you have a good night. Take it easy, Bird. But
Bye, Bird.
what I would say is that I would have made fun of that scene regardless because of the fact that in that very episode his strength is so inconsistent. And and it's not that they say, oh, if they had shown, which they do not do, if they had shown that okay, as the Hulk ages, so to speak, he gets stronger, or if they've shown that the more angry he gets, the stronger he gets, I would have been fine with that. But they don't show that. The only thing they show is at different times the Hulk's strength is different. There's no discernible rhyme or reason to it. It's just that everything that he does is always him straining to do it, whether he's bending a little steel bar or he's lifting up a car or he's tearing up 6-inch thick steel. It's always the exact same amount of effort, and that is a problem. I'm sorry, that is a consistency problem unless you put in there somewhere some kind of thing to indicate that there's a reason that his strength is at a different level. There's never any indication on the show that there's a reason for his strength to be at a different level.
So you needed, just like you said, you didn't think Saru, you need somebody that says Saru is tall in Discovery. You want somebody to come along and say that Hulk's strength is variable when we can already see that it is.
No, I didn't say you need to say that Saru is tall.
Well, I thought
that's an example.
I was talking.
Longer than thought.
You weren't listening to that example then. I said that if you were writing a book and describing the character Saru, you don't just say Saru is very tall. That's just telling you that. What you do is you describe that Saru had to duck as he walked through the door, then you know he's tall. You don't you don't just say the character is tall. That's horrible writing.
Without saying in the book, you describe the fact that 7 of 9 has a really huge breast. How you do that?
What the?
You know what?
Where did
First of all,
that come from?
it's his obsession with 7 of 9. Honestly, there are a lot of ways that you could describe that without saying she just has large breasts. For example, you could write a scene where 7 is in her quarters for the first time, and she's told to put on these standard issue Starfleet clothes, and she has a tough time fitting them over her top. Bam.
There's plenty of shows where Jerry Ryan is in there, and I think she was in Boston Public, and she did not have large chest.
No, the cat suit was enhanced.
That was.
She was good in Boston Legal though.
I liked her in Dracula 2000, but I mean,
she had a pretty big part in that movie. I was kind of disappointed.
But then like every Trek actor goes to Boston Legal, so I mean, like there's literally 20 Trek actors, about 30 or something.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
But anyway, the whole show don't tell thing, I get that, but as far as in the Incredible Hulk series, and even if you watch the entire series, there's never any kind of consistency to the Hulk's strength. There's no indicator.
There is consistency. There is consistency. He rises to the challenge every time he's presented with one. That's the consistency.
Well, but so you're saying that the Hulk's strength is just based on whatever he needs his strength to be, but that's that's literally just saying because the plot needs it.
Well, no, that's how the character works. It's got a different gimmick that it mentions, like with the whole anger thing. But in the show, it was very simple. He physically overpowered everything that he came up against. Now, that you might think is inconsistent, but it's very consistent in that. For example, he didn't have super strength when he didn't need to have it.
Right, but
You know
that
what I mean?
doesn't
He
make
never
sense.
he never accidentally broke something because he was too strong and it was it was too flimsy. That's an example of what I'm talking about.
Well, that's actually a common problem with super strong characters. They should break things
but
accidentally.
it's not a problem with the Hulk because on the show he never accidentally broke anything. He was actually very tender. For example, when he was handling small animals and things like that.
Right.
So there's a lot more to this than I think you're giving it credit for.
No, I don't think that they considered that at all. I think that's the thing. When looking at what I see on screen, and don't get me wrong, I love the show, right?
I know you're a fan. Yeah.
I do love the show. I'm not suggesting that the show is bad in any way. But at the same time, when it does come to the Hulk's powers, so to speak, the Hulk's power set, especially in the show, is very limited. He is super strong. That's it, right?
Yeah.
He's not bulletproof. We see that in the first episode,
Right.
which, by the way, kudos to them for that. Because that is, I do like, for example, in the MCU movies, the bullets hurt the Hulk. That he doesn't like.
Good.
He
doesn't like them.
Right, and actually, you do see the Hulk bleeding a little bit, and so they at least can cause some damage. So, like, you could get the idea that.
Wait. What MCU movie is this?
In the Avengers, you see it, and you also see it in the Incredible Hulk.
I don't recall him ever bleeding.
In the Incredible Hulk, he definitely was. Yeah.
Yeah.
The helicopter scene.
Yeah, in the helicopter scene, the large caliber rounds combined with the crash of the helicopter actually break his skin.
Yeah,
It did?
Yes, it absolutely did.
Absolutely did. Yeah.
But it just heals. I mean, it doesn't become weaker, and he heals fast. So that's
he does heal very fast, and he also apparently heals as he transforms back and forth between Banner and the Hulk.
Well, yeah.
And that's perfectly fine. I don't mind that. In the Bill Bixby Hulk, that's not the case. In the Bill Bixby Hulk, when the Hulk gets shot, Bill Bixby has a bullet hole in him.
Well,
it does heal. It heals very fast.
He heals at an accelerated rate, and also from things that human beings don't normally heal from. For example, in the episode where he got hit by a car and became paraplegic, each time he turned into the Hulk, he had a little bit more control or movement. And it was one of the more, it's one of the more fascinating episodes when it comes to his physical abilities.
Right.
But
so I appreciate the fact that they went out of their way to show that the Hulk is not invulnerable in the first episode. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just don't like the fact that, at least for me, his strength does not have any kind of consistency. And at least like the MCU Hulk, he feels like in fact, you get the feeling that that Banner Hulk, as much as you don't like Banner Hulk, is physically basically just as strong as the Hulk. He just doesn't like to use it. Like when he, in that scene when they go back to New York during the battle, and he kind of picks up the motorcycle and he's just casually throwing it around.
Yeah, he sets it aside. Yeah.
Right, and it looks like when he casually pops that car and it completely crushes the fender. Whereas it was kind of laughable that the Hulk hits the car in the first episode of the Incredible Hulk television series, and it puts a very small dent, and the Hulk was hitting the car with all of his rage and fury. So that's the problem, is that it just seems like if the Hulk can tear through, like in other episodes, we see the Hulk do things that do a lot more damage.
See, his strength has rules in the show, implicit rules, and that's where I think you and I are having our difference here, because you don't think the rules are consistent. I think they absolutely are, but you have to know what the rules are first to be able to make that determination.
But we shouldn't have to know that. That's the problem.
But they show it, and that's the thing. That's the impression that you get from watching all the episodes, in their entirety, especially in the order that they were.
Let's use the opening episode for a good example. When he in the Bill Bixby series, when he's trying to break out of that containment chamber. At first he can't move it. It takes him a while, but he gets angrier and angrier because he can't budge the thing. Then he breaks the whole thing down after he gets angry enough.
The concept.
I agree with Darren. I think it's somewhat.
They're in the series angrier, more angry, stronger is he is. So he becomes angrier when he has a resistance, and this is the reason more something resists, more he's angry and stronger he is.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't remember. It's been so fucking long since I've seen that fucking old series.
I love it. I mean, like I said, it's definitely we're not disagreeing about the quality of the show. We're just
the two most impressive feats of strength that the Hulk did, and in that run of the series were in the pilot when he broke out of the chamber, which was designed for deep sea submergence. So it was, that thing was sturdy. I mean,
Well, they specifically said, I believe, I can't remember exactly, but they do specifically say that it's like 6-inch thick steel.
Yeah. Well, that and the glass in the port was 6 inches thick. Yeah.
So, but he didn't punch his way through the glass. He actually ripped the steel cage out of it. So.
Yes, he did punch his way out of the glass. That's the first time you see him.
Well, no, but he also rips the steel apart.
He
does do that.
Section popping out.
Right. Yeah, he did. But the first thing he did was put his fist right through, and he almost hit Elena Mark.
Well, I remember that, but as far as like his escape plan, so to speak, even though he should have actually punched his way through the glass and then slowly worked his way through the window, but
right, but he was just too out of it. And the second most impressive thing he did was in the episode Prometheus. LDG, I hope you're not listening.
He's busy on Chris Knight's channel.
Okay, so in Prometheus, the Hulk completely destroys an underground complex by causing hydraulic feedback that starts a fire and destroys the whole thing. And it's one of those. This is another example of budget effects where all you have to do is show Lou putting his hands against something and straining, and then they show a bunch of repercussions of him doing this. He was holding back a hydraulic door, and then they cut to that famous stock footage that Universal always likes to use of U-2 rockets exploding and things like that, and such. But
just saying, Mercer put in $2, said Unification 3 was the worst Burnham made Spock. Yes, indeed. And I know Daniel was asking what I thought of it. Yeah, we talked about it a little earlier, Daniel. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Well, you know what? You watch it first, and then we'll talk about it. But I'm sure we'll talk about it tomorrow night. But I could not stand that episode. But go ahead, Darren. We can continue on.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, yes, he had budget. He had budget strength. I agree. But budget strength is fine when you have a character whose strength is already variable anyway. And in one episode, he can barely lift the car. In other episodes, he was able to hold back, thousands of tons of hydraulic pressure.
But you think that that's consistent because he just always rises to whatever he needs to do.
Because he's obeying his rules. Saying that his strength isn't consistent. It is consistent. It's based off of external stimuli. That's part of his whole mystique. And he's not going to become strong enough to lift a bus when all he has to do is lift a Pinto. That kind of thing. That's
an interesting idea, but that's just never how I saw the character when I first watched it or on rewatches. I mean, and like I said, if that's how you see it and that makes sense to you, that I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying that that's not the way that I've ever interpreted it. To me, it's always been a problem with the show that the Hulk's strength just does kind of change without explanation. And I don't like that, but at the same time, I'm not going to say that the series sucks because of it, because I still think the series is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, a flaw in a good series. If that makes sense.
They are flaws.
I mean, here's an example. Here's a great example of an inconsistency. The Wonder Woman TV show, Linda Carter's strength was also budget.
Yes.
But it was, but it was.
Who was whistling about Linda Carter, please?
Anyway, well,
I'll whistle about Linda Carter. She was hot back then.
Look, we know you have specific tastes, so
I'm sorry. I like curves on women. I do. I like curves, and Linda Carter ain't got. Look at her freaking butt. It's flat as a pancake. I'm sorry.
I said she had curves. It's not always in the butt.
Yeah, but that's an important part to have a curve at.
Yeah, you're a booty man. I know.
I am. I ain't gonna lie.
He likes the butt.
Yeah, I like the butt too.
Fellas,
but I'm trying to get to
does
the
your
point
girlfriend
about
have the
Linda
butt?
Carter. Linda Carter, the Wonder Woman there had television strength as well, budget
Yes.
strength, but her strength was as you described because she didn't have any rules to her strength the way the Hulk does.
You see, I see, and I think that's
Just
the
said that
fundamental
slow motion
difference. Is
run.
I see the way that Wonder Woman was done and the Hulk as pretty much the same.
Well, it is the same in that they both had budget strength, but one has a reason for it, the other one doesn't.
But
and
not
you're acting
a
like
reason.
there's no reason for it.
But you see, you're acting like they've shown that there is a reason. You're
They
assuming.
did show that.
How did they show it? They just show it, just like with Wonder Woman, she does whatever the situation calls for. She rises to the occasion. You could make everything you said about the Hulk, you could say about Wonder Woman. The only difference is Wonder Woman wasn't going around going, "Arr!" I mean, that's about it.
When she was sexy.
Yeah, Wonder Woman could articulate while the Hulk couldn't, but that's the extent of the difference there.
Well, we're not talking about articulation. We're talking about power set here.
Right. And as far as her strength, you're right. It was wildly inconsistent on Wonder Woman.
It was wildly inconsistent, but there was no reason for it other than maybe she was tired that day and not the other day. I mean, you could have that.
Well, you could just say that it has to do with an Amazonian cycle.
Yeah, you could do that. I suppose,
You could argue that, but it wouldn't. It would be, to me, it's still an ad hoc explanation, just like anything on the Hulk is. We know that the real reason is the budget.
Yeah. Here is another great example of a character who has inconsistent strength but has a reason for it. And that was a character called Moon Knight over on over in Marvel. He had, at least in the comics that I read, he had strength variable depending on whether it was nighttime or not, and what the phases of the moon were.
Right. He was strongest on a full moon, wasn't he?
On a full moon, yeah. On a full moon, he was basically like the Marvel Cinematic version of Captain America. Right. But on most nights, he was like Batman level. So it was an interesting power set there to play with. Writers had to basically make sure that he only had one adventure a month.
Or you could do adventures where his power set was not where he was at his peak.
Right.
Because, that would actually be an interesting situation where, most of the time when bad things happen, he's not at his peak, only once every 28 days.
Right.
Or 20, whatever days it is. Wonder Butt. I wonder where it is. So I get it. It was the 70s. TV had not evolved to the point that it had today as far as visual effects. And so I can be forgiving on that. And that's why, like I said, I'm not going to say that the show was bad because of the Hulk's inconsistent strength. But I think that to not point it out would be unfair as well.
Well, there's also a lot of things back then you couldn't just do on TV.
Right.
Which just weren't allowed.
But, I think that the Hulk's strength would not have been a censorship issue. I think that if the Hulk had murdered that little girl in the first episode, then they wouldn't have allowed that. Right. But that wasn't the point of that scene. The point of that scene was that he was trying to help her because the Hulk has Banner's ethos. He just and hey, Matthew, you should stop in. Let's see. Let me put the link in here. If you're that's not the link. That's the terminal justice thing. Let me invite. I know it pops up on the screen because why not? Matthew, come join us, my friend. Talk to us about Turkey.
I've always been frustrated though when especially live action superheroes and comic book characters either do something that they're not supposed to be able to do within the original material, or they can't do something. It has to be a very, very, everything else all the other boxes have to be ticked before I can really enjoy that. Because, for example, let's say the Marvel movies were crappy. I'd be very upset with the Chris Hemsworth Thor for all of the things that he's not able to do.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, is that we can forgive inconsistencies when something is awesome, right? And that's like with all the flaws of the Hulk, the show was awesome. And so it didn't matter that he was inconsistent with the comic books. It didn't matter that he didn't talk, stuff like that. And so I was perfectly okay with that because the series was great. Now, as someone mentioned, the Spider-Man show, Ryan said, do you remember the 70s Spider-Man show? I hated that show.
The Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man.
Yes, I absolutely despised that show. I hated it then, and I still hate it. I don't remember it with fondness at all. And number one, at most, he would swing once per episode, right? And that's supposed to be Spider-Man's primary mode of transportation.
Right.
And number two, he was in Los Angeles when he's supposed to be in New York. Number three, the problem is that, and I think this is why I can be more forgiving for the Hulk, is that at the time I was reading Spider-Man in the comics, I was not reading the Hulk.
Right.
Unlike you, I was never a big Hulk fan. I love Fantastic Four. I loved X-Men. I loved Spider-Man. Those were my favorites as far as back in the 70s. And so when I see, Spider-Man TV show, awesome, and then I watch this stupid show, and I'll never forget that stupid music. It's still stuck in my head. That
every show had that.
Yeah, it was just horrible. Everything about it was just bad. And so I did not like that show. Now the Hulk was definitely a different take on the Hulk. I knew enough about the Hulk to know that wasn't the same. But I wasn't in love with the Hulk in the comic books, so it didn't bother me at all.
Right.
It'd be like if they did an X-Men and like Wolverine carried a sword. That's
Japanese Spider-Man series.
No, thank you. I've seen clips of it. That would piss me off even more.
The Indian one was even worse, where he's a villain.
Yeah.
And murdering women and stuff like that. It's just,
Japan Spider-Man.
That's what he was just talking about.
Like fighting robots and shit.
He's like a Mechazord from.
Well, India has these ones at Bollywood of a crime lord called the Spider-Man. He's wearing Spider-Man's costume, and Marvel can't really do much about it because it's in India.
Right.
India
doesn't give a crap about American copyright.
Yeah. Right, or trademarks, and so the Hulk TV show is an anomaly because ordinarily when you have a TV production that depicts a character that is so underpowered, in particular compared to the source material, the fans usually dislike it. But it hit everything so well that they totally forgive it for it, and they actually kind of dig it as its own little thing. It's actually a very bizarre show because it was one of those shows that didn't have any standing sets. They shot on location every time. It was an expensive show to make because they had to go places all the time.
Even though they basically only had a cast of 3.
Yeah, they only had a cast of 3, most of which never interacted with each other.
Right.
Jack Colvin couldn't interact with Bill Bixby because that would be the end of the show, except for in that one episode where Banner's face was healing and he was under bandages. But and obviously most of the time Bixby and Lou weren't in the same shot.
When they're just like one episode where they met in a dream or something like that.
Banner was being hypnotized. The episode was called Married. It won an Emmy for best episode in a dramatic series, believe it or not, that year. Mary Hartley, the actress who played the woman that he married in that episode, got an Emmy for that best actress.
That the rules about copyright in Italia in the past, they had the right in Italia to do like sequel to success movies from the United States. This is the reason why they did the 1989 a movie named Terminator 2, and it's like really a mess. And it looked more like a bad ripoff of Alien. You should watch that. That's free on YouTube. Terminator 2.
I hope most people have seen Terminator 2 by this point.
Terminator 2, 1989. That's really
You're talking about
That was
movie.
that was the height, the absolute height of the Terminator.
Are you talking about the movie that came out in 1991, or are you talking about some other movie that came out in 1999?
I think he's talking about some low budget movie.
An Italian sequel.
Oh.
One.
Yeah.
See,
and
an Italian sequel. He's like, I'll be back.
And then you got to watch out for the mockumentary.
Two, but they are like aliens, and like it's insanely ridiculous. You need to watch it.
By the way, one of my favorite superhero shows from back in the day would be the $6 Million Man.
Right.
Oh, I love that
I love
show.
the $6 Million.
Yeah.
Our Fall Guy was good. All those.
But $6 Million Man, and this is one of the reasons I harp on Hulk and stuff. $6 Million Man was a little more consistent with his abilities.
Yeah, they stated what he could do.
Right. They made it very clear. This is how strong he is. This is how fast he is. This is what he, what his eye can do and stuff. Even though they did change it from the pilot. Originally, his eye was like a laser.
Then a spin-off with the Bionic Woman.
Don't remind me of that. That was a horrible.
Oh, come
show.
on! It's more or less the same show.
She had a freaking bionic dog with her. I'm sorry. I was done at that point.
Hey, be quiet. That's family.
And also, did you like in that time the Buffalo Bill Circus? When you were there in the Buffalo Bill Circus, did you like it?
The Buffalo Bill Circus?
Yeah.
Okay, so
what the hell is the Buffalo Bill Circus? I don't even know.
I'm intrigued.
Buffalo Bill as a team of people in Western.
Well, that was in the Old West, and Annie Trigger isn't quite that old. So the last American circus closed shop about 3 years ago. The Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey traveling.
But I've never heard of the Buffalo Bill Circus. So
Buffalo Bill had a traveling show.
Oh, okay.
That had he had his own little circus for a little while in retirement. But no, the $6 Million Man was interesting because if you look at the TV show, actually made him more powerful than he was in the original novels by Michael.
Right,
Hayden.
in the novels, his parts were basically just replacements.
Well,
but they could conceal various gadgets that he would carry with him.
Yeah, his eye, for example, was a camera. He couldn't see through it, but he could pop it out and then have the film developed.
Right.
And his artificial arm couldn't be used for anything other than as a battering ram. So and then
it was basically indestructible, but it wasn't super strong.
Right. It didn't have the ability. It wasn't articulated. It couldn't move.
I thought he could throw people with it because I seem to remember him throwing people with his.
We're
talking about the book.
Yeah.
The book.
Oh, the book.
Yeah, the book is called Cyborg.
Yeah, it was a series of books. Yeah. And in the book, Steve Austin was his bionics, as they were called, were much more simplistic. They were they really hit home the idea that he really was a handicapped man. And
Steve Austin.
Yeah. So but in the show, I mean, my favorite episodes, of course, were the Bigfoot ones and the Death Probe, and
Oh man, the Venus Probe one, that one.
Venus Probe, yeah.
That scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, it was basically a great big Dalek.
Yeah,
and
it was an oversized Dalek. Yeah.
Yeah, and it had a funny sound that it made so you knew it when it was coming, and it was
Yeah.
and Injustice 2, the comic, it's our name. I forget his name, but he got a ring of the Green Lantern, and he hit he attacked the Red Lantern with his dick.
That's great, Alexander. Thanks for your contribution.
What the hell? Seriously, Alexander, that was like the most random thing.
That's
bizarre. What was funny was back in the 90s, Kevin Costner wanted to make a $6 Million Man film, and probably a real long ass boring version, but
it'll be a 4.5 hour epic. Everybody will love it.
He made a trailer of sorts, which was basically an update of the opening credits, where he he paid for it with his own money, and he actually hired James Earl Jones to do the voiceover.
Oh, that'd be good.
And then they show him running in a red suit, kind of like because the special effects for the $6 Million Man were basically time lapse photography, and speeding up things and
playing things backwards.
Backwards. They also, it was interesting because he was supposed to be running at superhuman speed, but they would show him running in slow motion.
Right. Because in the pilot they actually did show him. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
in the pilot they actually did overcrank the film so that it made him look fast, but it looked so stupid that in subsequent episodes they did it in slow motion.
It's still in the credits.
That also when
that clip is in the credits.
Still when TV shows had monologue at the beginning.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Steve Austin, astronaut, a man barely alive.
It was
a lot of shows back then. Even the oldies have that monologue.
TV shows back then were like Whoppers and Big Macs. They had to be the same every time, everywhere you went, and every time you saw one or had one. And so they treated every episode like it was somebody's first episode. So they would explain the concept of the series in the opening credits, and that's something that they don't do anymore.
It's like how you would describe Taco Bell. They've got 5 ingredients and they just serve it a different way.
Right. Yeah. Or Remington Steel is another great example where if you didn't know anything about the show, by the end of that 30-second, opening credits, you knew what the show was about.
The A-Team.
The A-Team was another
the A-Team. They straight up told you their origin story at the beginning of every episode. And the funny thing about that one is that I remember in season 2 they changed the monologue, because in season 1 it said 10 years ago, and then in season 2, since it was no longer 10 years ago, they didn't say 11 years ago. Instead, they said in 1971. So
and everybody forgets the unofficial member, like towards the later seasons, with the black kid or whatever they get.
But guys, it was Lobo. It was Lobo.
Like he was always working with them, but like not officially part of the A-Team. Like later seasons, like
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I stopped watching it after a while. It was the same
they had
show.
a kid, like a black kid that came and helped him from time to time.
That was their jump shark moment.
Really popular, and that's kind of when the show.
Sheriff Lobo, Alexander.
It was Lobo. It was Lobo that in
Sheriff Lobo.
All right, to the internet.
Lobo. Okay, we know Lobo.
Sheriff Lobo. Okay.
No, Lobo.
No, Sheriff Lobo was a different show.
Lobo.
I know.
Don't hurt my brain. It's
the Spring Biker in DC, Lobo. Okay, in Injustice 2. Now the Green Lantern.
No, I don't want to hear about lanterns hitting each other's dicks. If you're going to say anything about a lantern getting hit in the dick, shut up now. I will kick you from this stream if you mention a dick.
This is Lobo. Lobo received.
I don't care who it was.
Lobo mask his best wife.
Because the Red Lantern caught Lobo in 2, and Lobo said, "I hate you. You cut my back, and the back is my best part." And when the Green Lantern are to be destroyed by the Red Lantern, they give back his ring to. They give the ring of a dead lantern to Lobo, and after that, Lobo go to fight against.
Okay, you're the only one talking about Green Lantern. We're trying to talk about the A-Team here, and the character I think they're talking about is Dishpan Man, Frankie Santana, who was on the show in 1986 and 1987. He was a Puerto Rican
Lobo
special effects expert who helps the A-Team during his final season.
Yeah.
But you don't see that happen.
Which has nothing to do with Green Lantern.
Yes.
Yeah, but Green Lantern, Lobo has the ring.
Wow.
Oh dear.
You know what's really funny?
Did somebody invite Cade back that we just don't know it?
What's funny is when you watch when you watch these old shows like The Hulk, you see all these actors who were just starting out who later became bigger stars. Kim Cattrall, for example, is in one. Good
night, Cinnabon.
One episode where she plays a Native American woman.
Come and go on, Cinnamon.
that was really an interesting one where Kim Cattrall played a Native American woman. This is before, obviously, she played Valeris and before she was on Sex and the City or Mannequin. And you know, yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny that Hollywood, they've gone from basically an era where they cast nothing but white people as everything except for black people. That was the only exception, right? They would not have a white person in blackface for the most part. But any other ethnicity, oh yeah, just put a little dark makeup on them and call it a day.
Hey.
But now it's like, you know, if you have a gay character, you better have a gay actor.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's terrible.
And also, this is something that really pisses me off. Alex Kurtzman, if you see this,
he doesn't see it.
I know. But this kind of pissed me off because remember they made this big deal out of we're bringing in the first transgender and non-binary characters to Star Trek, which of course we all know is a bunch of bull crap. But we were like, oh, okay, so they're doing the whole virtue signaling. We've got, you know, transgender and non-binary characters, blah blah blah. So then we bring in these characters of Gray and Adria, and they are neither transgender or non-binary. One is female, the other is male. They're boyfriend and girlfriend, for Christ's sake.
That is not true.
Yeah.
That is not true.
It is true.
Gray is supposed to be a transgender male. And the actors...
They never say that on screen. They never, ever say that on screen.
But they say it outside.
The writers forgot to mention that.
No, you know what? That is bullcrap, Tim. If
bullcrap.
I'm sorry. If I don't give a crap about what some writer says, and you know, it's like, you know, what's his name says that everybody in Trek is bi. I'm sorry. That's just a load of crap. That's just them trying to appease the LGBTQ whatever community.
Well, of course it is.
But unless you actually show them being transgender or gay or whatever or non-binary, I don't give a crap. Whatever you want to say they are, make it that. Don't advertise that look at how brave we are and then chick it out. I mean, they're literally trying to say how brave they are for having these characters.
Game. You are distorting everybody's speakers.
I'm sorry. But then they chick it out.
They're going to break.
And the Lone Ranger was always the same actors.
You know,
that was the
okay. I'm actually going to use something that Alexander just brought up. A few years ago, I thought it was actually a brave choice of Disney to cast Johnny Depp as Tonto in the Tarzan in the Lone Ranger film. Because why was that brave? Because you knew that they were going to get criticism for not finding some qualified Native American actor to play Tonto, and yet, you know, I thought Johnny Depp's performance, he actually had me believing that this guy was this, you know, medicine man, the shaman.
Only good part of that movie. It
was
a
terrible
movie, but Johnny Depp was worth watching for that. And
I never saw it. So, but you're saying Johnny Depp's performance was okay?
But
I would say it's convincing. He actually, I forgot it was Johnny Depp a few times there. And you know, but Hollywood's been doing that for a long time. I remember when I was a kid, there was a movie that came out in '87 called La Bamba. It was about Richie Valens.
I never saw it, but I remember. You know,
and Lou Diamond Phillips played the character. Now, Lou Diamond Phillips isn't Hispanic. He's Filipino, but nobody cared. You know, You know, he looked like a brown guy, so you know that was all you needed back then. And Lou Diamond Phillips was very. He didn't broadcast his ethnicity because he knew that was probably a bad idea.
If he was just vaguely, well, honestly, if he was just vaguely ethnic, that helps him because then he can play anything.
Yeah, it's kind of like The Rock, the same way.
Right.
What was his name?
Lou Diamond Phillips played a fucking Indian in Young Guns.
Yes, that too. Yeah, not just an Indian, but a fucking Indian.
Oh,
wow.
I have no idea why you said that.
Hello?
Hey, hello.
Hello.
Hey, Alexander, say the word dick so we can kick you.
No, don't listen to
I'm just kidding.
But the comics...
No, he's not.
Just says what?
Hold on, Chief Cook was trying to say something. What's that, Chief?
As a correction, they have one character to play black, and I'm talking about Robert Downey Jr. and
Holy Chief, I could barely hear you.
Robert Downey Jr. wasn't playing a black man; he was playing an actor playing a black man.
I'm saying they had other movies
Holy shit!
that white people had playing black. In
Yeah, turn them up.
So,
I can't adjust his volume.
I don't know of a single movie in my lifetime where a white actor was playing a black person. I've seen there are many movies that I've seen where a white person was playing a character who was white, who was pretending to be black because it was a comedy or something. But
yeah, exactly.
but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about like in the example of Johnny Depp. He was not playing an actor playing an Indian. He was playing an Indian.
Right. He was in red face,
Also,
basically.
there was a guy. There was a white guy playing Michael Jackson in a movie 2 years ago. Michael Jackson. He was white. He was English.
Cook, you were really
well. Michael Jackson was basically white before he died, anyway. So that.
Yeah, no, but
Pretty much.
I mean, you had on SNL, you had what's his name, Fred Armisen playing Obama for years,
Right.
because he was the only one who could really do it.
And he did a halfway decent Obama, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, the black guy that they had on their cast at the time, what was his name? Keenan. I don't remember what his name was.
Keenan's still on the show.
Yeah, but he's weight. He couldn't lose the weight to play Obama because Obama was freaking skinny, and this is the actor who played Fat Albert in the movie. So I mean, he wasn't able to do it, so they just handed it off to somebody else. And
Fred, quite frankly, looked enough like Obama to where he was incredibly convincing.
Right.
But the problem is that if Hollywood wants to make a big deal out of the idea that, like, remember the whole Batwoman controversy, right?
Right.
And they're like, oh my God, the chick that they have playing Batwoman isn't gay enough because she just said that she was gender fluid, right?
Yeah.
She wasn't actually gay, she was gender fluid, and that wasn't gay enough.
Yeah.
And so she's off the show, and they bring in, hey, this one's really gay, everybody. Be ready for the really gay Batwoman. Like, I give a crap, right? Like,
this actress doesn't even shave her pits. She's going to be great. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't care about that. What I care about is the show any good, right? But then these idiot producers on Trek make this big deal out of Gray and Adria, like, ooh, we're brave. We're putting out a transgender, and non-binary character. That is specifically what they said. A, nobody's transgender. B, nobody's non-binary. And so it's just that the actors are. I don't give a crap what the actor is.
Right.
In 1962, King Kong against Godzilla. King Kong is even not played by a gorilla. This is someone in
Alexander? First of all,
you're right. King Kong was not played by an actual gorilla. It was played by probably an Asian man in a suit.
Well, in the King Kong versus Godzilla movie, yes, but
and King Kong escapes. There was more than one Toho King Kong film.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's also a kaiju movie. I mean, what are you going to find a 500-foot tall gorilla to play King Kong?
Yeah,
back in those days, that was what you did. You put a guy in a suit.
Right.
I made a video on this.
Well, yeah, I know. But
Well, I mean, people get certain shapes.
Nobody was fooled. Everybody who watched a movie that had a guy in a gorilla suit, knew they were looking at a guy with a gorilla suit. But if the narrative was good enough, they'd go along to get because they enjoyed the show. The Hulk fought a guy in a gorilla suit one time.
So I mean, if you get typecasted, like look at most of the Klingons in Trek. I mean, a majority of them are tall black men because they fit the bill. You know what I'm saying?
No, they're not. Martok, Gowron.
Well, I mean, like the extras, not like the fucking main ones.
They weren't extras. Those were relatively major characters, but Tony Todd and Michael Dorn were obviously tall black guys.
There's quite a few more, but they're not like main characters. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, they're typecast.
The Klingons were quite diverse, I thought, in the actors.
In the movies, I mean, majority of them are white. I think in the movies, aren't they?
Majority of them in the TV show are as well. I mean, you look at the episode where Riker went to the PA as a TDA officer; they're all white in there except for one woman, who's obviously a black actress.
Other things, Jar Jar Binks wasn't played by a Gungan.
Yeah,
Alexander, you make me wish that I still had at my disposal a vessel capable of shooting a missile at wherever you are in Canada.
Going home.
I got a fire control
Alexa.
chief. I got a fire control chief that would do that for me if I gave him a carton of smokes.
The lights is on, but no one's home.
You can't
You know, I
deny
had
that Jar Jar Binks wasn't played by a good man.
The lights is on, but no
Nobody
one's home.
cares.
Game on the Commodore called
I
Death
think the motion capture was a black dude, wasn't it? A Jamaican
Yeah.
dude or something?
He's black guy that did the motion capture.
You have somebody in the back, anti-trucker.
Oh, I didn't see. Oh, hey, Deej. Good to see you, my friend.
Deej.
Yeah.
DJ, you've come in just in time for the absolute insanity of Alexander.
Thursday night craziness.
Yeah.
I know,
The
really.
lights
A
is
Gungan
on.
not being played by a Gungan, what the hell?
Yeah.
Who would have
Well,
The
thought
lights
that?
is home, but no one's home.
Clearly, they should have had you play the part, Deej, since I'm sure
I
you have.
dressed up for you tonight.
I
Well,
watched
thank
a
you.
movie. I watched a movie night the other day, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was about this Eskimo girl who had to go down south into the populated parts of Alaska to get medicine for her village. And I thought this actress was incredible, and I looked her up, and she's not an Eskimo, she's a Japanese American actress, and but she'll be protected. That's what's so sad. That the cancel culture only goes after people who fit a certain template for their agenda.
But sometimes their template seems to be fluid, so to speak. Sorry to use one of their own terms, but because I mean, look at all the crap that the actress who played Cara Dune got.
Right.
Why are you going after her? She's one of you.
Well,
You
she's
know?
dark shit too. She's not like they're automatically going after her. She's
Talking
just making effort.
talking about less angry Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, which, by the way, I loved her as less angry Rosie O'Donnell. I thought she was great as less angry Rosie O'Donnell.
I
and
was
her
rooting
fight
for
scene.
her.
Yeah,
I was rooting for her when she fought Colossus.
Yeah. That was one of the best. That was one of the best superhero punch out scenes in cinema history. And so I absolutely. That's Miss Nanchek was saying. What movie should we watch? We need to watch Deadpool. I haven't seen.
I have a movie you should watch. It was
I know.
About a year and a half ago.
I know.
Called Hail Caesar.
Yes, I know.
Hail Caesar.
You should watch
that movie.
It's Hail Caesar. Darren was kind enough to send it to me, and I have been very remiss and have not watched it yet.
I mean, you finally got around to seeing The Man from
Stupid
U.N.C.L.E.
movie.
Yeah, and but anyway, but no, I love I wish I could remember her name, but I love her in Mandalorian. I like Gina Carano. Thank you. I loved her in Mandalorian. I loved her in Deadpool. I think that's how you should cast a badass warrior
Absolutely.
woman.
She looks like she can do what she does.
And she's not.
Chris Knight couldn't name Gina Carano either. It's funny.
Because like she said, she's a take no shit individual.
Right.
Ronda Rousey is another one of those actresses now who can realistically portray a woman who's capable of defeating a man.
But Ronda Rousey's not quite an actress.
No, she's not.
No, but Gina Carrero has got some decent acting chops on her.
Just look at her next to Pedro and look at the size difference.
Ronda Rousey can play a character that's just like Ronda Rousey, though.
Right.
Just
And
like
the
John
interest-
Wayne, like the same person in the movie.
I don't know who's got the cloaking device sound going, but you might want to mute that. But no, Gina Carrero, and if you look at her in her Carano, sorry, but in her, I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names. I know Gina.
Detmer.
I just say Gina.
Detmer.
I know. Gina, I'm not going to say Detmer when I'm talking about Gina. Stop it, Darren. But when I got you to snort at least. Well, when she appeared in The Mandalorian season 2, it looks like she's buffed up. I mean, she actually looks significantly larger than she was in season 1, and I was like, "Damn!" No. We are not
She didn't
talking
gain, like Tilly weight.
Yeah, she did not gain Tilly weight. In fact, if you see her when you see her standing there. If you see her from the back, the way that her waist goes to her shoulders, she looks like a freaking man because she's got that V shape.
She said. Oh, wait. She did say she's gained a couple weight because she said she was worried about. when it cast in the series, she gained some weight. That's what she said in interviews. She did say that. She said, I was worried about I was not get the role because I gained some weight.
That was getting the role. That would have been for season 1. That's not season 2.
Meanwhile,
I'm talking about season 2, Chief Cook. And in season 2, she looks more buff than she did in season 1.
Meanwhile, you had what's her face on the first season of Batwoman, who looked like Justin Bieber,
right?
Throwing around trained, professional hitmen and guards and all kinds of stuff.
Right, but when Gina beat
the size.
Yeah, when Gina beat the crap out of Mando, it was completely believable.
But the girls that will do that is the Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley in the WWE. She's 6 foot tall, and she looked like.
Have you seen Mandalorian, Alexander?
I didn't see the Mandalorian, but
then you need to stop talking about that because you haven't seen Gina in action. Then she is huge. She's
been in a lot of action.
Gina would be my choice to play Big Barda in a DC universe film.
I don't say. Maybe I just say that Rhea Ripley, the girls from the.
Oh gosh, she'd be great. She would be great in that role.
She has,
she's perfect.
I would cast Gina as
small.
I'm probably going to get the name wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she was created in Secret Wars. Is it Titana? And so I would cast her as Titana in the MCU.
An interesting thing would be to have Wonder Woman on Apocalypse and have her eventually have to fight
Big Barda.
Big Barda. Because then you can see the physical differences between Gal Gadot and Gina. Gina would be much more imposing, and it would be fun.
Gal Gadot. I think Gal Gadot is an absolutely beautiful woman, but I really do not like her the choice of her as Wonder Woman. Because of all the people we saw in Wonder Woman, all the women we saw on that frickin' island, she was the one that didn't look like an Amazon.
What does an Amazon look like?
I'm not 6 foot.
Huh?
Have you seen the Linda Carter show? Did any of those women look like Amazons? Well, we all bought it.
No, well, but the difference is that on the Linda Carter show, she wasn't surrounded by a bunch of muscle-bound women.
If I may make an interjection on that, on the Linda Carter show, when I was young and I watched that for the first time, I didn't even know Wonder Woman was an Amazon. They really didn't touch on that very much.
They didn't
I didn't
call
find
them
out
Amazons.
about that until much later.
Yeah, they didn't call them Amazons. They were just women that lived on a place called Paradise Island. That's what it was called back then, not Themyscira. Right. And one of the interesting effects is when she finds Steve Trevor on the beach and she picks him up and runs like sprints with him. And if you play it very slowly, you can see that she's actually holding a dummy. A super light, representation of a man, so that she's able to actually. It looks like she's carrying a full-grown man and sprinting, and it's a great little visual gag that they use in that pilot. And so, I mean, they were able to convey some physicality with her, but. You're right. I mean, women back then, Wonder Woman generally looks like whatever the society thinks a beautiful woman should look like at the time she's published or it's put out. So today we want fitness models, and back in the 70s we wanted Charlie's Angels. So
which
the original Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, the
real Charlie's Angels. Yeah.
So but I think that honestly the like I said, I just think that Gal Gadot. She would have been fine as Wonder Woman, but I think that the big mistake was when we saw Themyscira, we saw all these women that looked like Gina, right? They were these huge, muscly, powerful-looking women, and then Gal Gadot is the toughest one of them all.
Well,
what?
Because she's the daughter of Zeus. That's why.
Right, but it's still
she doesn't have to be muscle bound. She's naturally.
But I just didn't buy it because of the premise.
Yeah.
And so,
natural.
Yeah,
you're not a Wonder Woman fan, and we
if
got
you're going to
that.
compare things, you compare it like you got Arnold Schwarzenegger as Hercules, or you got Kevin Sorbo as Hercules.
Right. I mean,
if I was going to cast Hercules today, I would cast someone like The Rock, which I know he played Hercules in a horrible movie that I haven't seen, but and but that's because Hercules, I mean, has always been portrayed as a very large muscle man. And that's fine. But, you know, if you're going to, you know, honestly, if you want to show, like, the physicality of women, you have a couple of choices. You can make them super skilled martial artists like they do with Black Widow. Like, notice that for the most part, you don't see Scarlett Johansson punching men. Right? You see her doing, like, you know, cool moves where she grabs them with their legs and flips them over that way. Right, which could, you know, theoretically, if you were that agile, would work. But you don't see her, like, punching some guy and sending him flying 6 feet back.
Well, I mean, she's not out there fighting Thanos. You know what I'm saying? She's not going fist to fist with Thanos. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so, yeah, I mean, like, she's...
she never fought Thanos.
Yeah. And
right. Well, the only woman that took... Well, there are two women that took Thanos on directly, right? There's obviously Brie Larson's Captain Marvel in that really stupidly cut scene where, for some reason, she's, like, completely impervious to everything until Thanos grabs the power gem. But I don't. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was completely stupid.
I mean, I love your... Hold on. Did you not, like, put that
when we edited it, made it bouncing with the sound effect and everything?
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was freaking hilarious.
Yeah. Danny Trekker, speaking of hilarious,
don't get riled up.
Can I just show you something real quickly that you're going to find hilarious?
All right. What is it, DJ?
It's just a short little clip here.
It's not going to give me a copyright strike.
No, it will not get you a copyright strike, but you're going to find this hilarious. This is what I made Pickles do a little while ago.
All right. Oh, it's this is what Bird was talking about, him doing push-ups.
Jesus.
That's not push-ups. That's just falling down.
It looks painful.
It's controlled landing is what it is.
That's not even controlled. It's
most
just...
of us here couldn't do a couple of decent push-ups.
I could do about 10 of them done.
Yeah, I've seen the warm-up
like
beforehand.
Push-ups and I'm done.
Now, back in the day, when I got out of the Army, I mean, I could knock out push-ups like it was nothing. But now, I mean, honestly, with my back, with my knee, I'm broken. You know,
I don't think my arms are long enough to get my gut off the floor.
No, in fact, the last time I attempted to do push-ups was a couple of years ago, and I did about 5 of proper military push-ups with no problem. But I also could feel it in my back at that point. And that's the problem because for those of you that have not served in the military, there's a very specific way you do a push-up. It is, I mean, there is an entire litany of things you have to do a proper military push-up. Right. And one of those things is that, like, I think LD breaks pretty much every rule there. And I understand, like, you know, yeah, he's fat. I'm not going to laugh at him for being fat. I'm fat too. But, you know, obviously his gut touching the ground, number one. But and if you don't have a gut, you're not supposed to touch the ground with anything other than your hands and your toes.
Right.
You know, and you're supposed to keep your back completely rigid. Your shoulders must be level. When you go down to the point where from elbow across your back to elbow is a perfect plane. That's how far down you go, and then you go up until your arms are completely locked.
Yep. I did my push-ups wrong when I was in the Navy. I always tucked my elbows to my sides so that I wasn't relying on
did you get that
muscles.
Did you get that some dick counting? Zero.
No.
Okay. We got that.
Well, here's the thing. This is one of the things that's different about the Navy to the Army. The Army, you're expected to do a lot more physical stuff than most sailors are. You know, if you're a sailor, you're going to be working on a ship most likely, or in an office somewhere. You know, and so there wasn't that big of a. You had to be able to do 50 push-ups inside of 3 minutes, I think it was, or 2 minutes, and they counted them all. You know, it was, you know, if it was, you know, they counted them all. So it was, you know, you'd have people doing some pretty lousy push-ups. But I just did it where I tucked my elbows in, so that it was a lot more of my tricep was involved in the push-up than otherwise would be. And
I had to do 70 in 2 minutes, and if there was anything slightly wrong with it, it was not counted.
Yeah, the Army has us on PE. So
right.
But
I'm sure the Marine Corps, it's like, oh, what are you talking about? We did 110 in 30 seconds.
Yeah, my brother will if he was here, he would chime in right away.
Yeah,
but But then
and I'm not pretending we're tough as the Marines. I'm not going to go there.
No. There's You're supposed to be the bronze, not the brains, genius.
The Army Rangers will disagree, and they will say that they are.
And they are wrong. I'm sorry. Look, I love
branch. Yeah. You're comparing a branch to a very specific place within another branch. That's not a good comparison.
I know, but I had a Ranger drill sergeant, and he would swear that he could take out any Marine.
Of course, he'd say that. I had a Ranger drill sergeant as well, and actually one second platoon had a Special Forces drill sergeant. I mean, he was a complete badass. But at the same time, I'm sorry, but the Special Forces standards of PT is like that's like standard PT for the Marines for just like getting out of basic.
And then the Marines have their own special ops team called Marine Force Recon. Grab one of those guys, and then if you're really feeling frisky, grab a Navy SEAL. They recruit from the Marine Corps. So I mean,
and you know what? And most people say, especially that
Pickles
Navy SEALs say they're pretty much inhuman. They are a monster.
Well,
Pickles is backstage.
I saw a couple of different special ops and special forces units when I was on Trepang, and I can tell you that the Army Rangers were like a bunch of junk Texans.
Real quick, Chief Cook, I see two of you backstage.
He's probably trying to connect from his phone and then something else.
It might have been
I barely could even hear him.
StreamYard glitch. If I may say one thing, and I'll bounce back out, let you guys continue your night. In defense of what you guys just saw, I did tell Deej I would redo those push-ups without my belly actually touching the ground. Second, actually lifting 350 pounds, you would need the fucking power gem to do that. If it any other,
or be a Marine,
if it was anybody else doing those push-ups, you would need the fucking power gem to do what I did.
Hey,
but
LD,
Deej said I was good, and he counted those as 6 push-ups. That's all I gotta say.
I'm not LD.
I give you credit because you got off the ground. I couldn't. I don't have enough arm length to get my gut off the ground.
LD.
The unmovable object off the ground 6 times.
LD.
Give me some credit.
LD. Look, I don't know if you heard me. Yeah, I did not say that, oh, what a pussy. I did not say anything like that. I was saying that they were not proper military push-ups. And so, but, that's, you were never in the military. So
and the
I don't
military isn't the only people who do push-ups either. I mean,
I actually thought, because listen, I know push-ups. And I know, okay, maybe they weren't regulation push-ups, but I will say this. When you actually put your full weight to the ground, it is more effort to lift your body up than to only lower yourself down an inch off the ground.
Except for one problem with that, LD, and this is why. And this is part of the reason why it does not count in the military if you touch the ground in any way, shape, or form, is because by touching the ground, you are reducing the burden of gravity and therefore resting. That breaks the push-up. That makes it not a push-up.
Giving yourself giving yourself more effort to lift yourself off the ground.
Doesn't matter if you rested. It does not matter. And believe me, it takes. I saw the video, and it takes more effort to stop yourself without hitting the ground than it takes to lift yourself. It actually takes more effort to stop against gravity than it does to lift against gravity. That is a fact.
I don't believe that, but that's fine. Deej, you should have told me to do them without touching the ground, or
I'll do them right now.
Have. The whole point.
No.
You want me to do it right now? I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. You want me to do it right now?
No.
Camera.
No.
We don't want you to hurt yourself.
No, I'm not trying. No, listen, I'm not
No,
trying
no.
to sound
I'm not gonna.
sour.
I don't want you to have another medical emergency.
I'm not trying to sound sour. I'm trying to say that. Listen, I stand up to the plate. All right. You want
I
me to
didn't
step
say
to
you
the plate?
didn't.
I'll step up to the plate.
I didn't say you
Okay.
didn't. I did not say
Okay,
you.
okay.
I didn't say you wussed out.
You don't
So-
deserve to suffer.
No,
Nobody-
right. No, there's no suffering, dude. Like I am with you guys. Like if that's what it takes,
You'll probably
then
be
that's
hurting
what I
a
would
little
do.
tomorrow. If you don't exercise, you will probably be hurting
Oh, I'm
tomorrow.
gonna be.
He was
I'm gonna be
already
hurting a
hurting
little bit
about
more
5
than a
minutes
little tomorrow, but
About 5 minutes afterwards, you can see him grabbing his arms and stuff on my stream.
Yeah.
He was
well,
already
that's
hurt.
normal. You always see me grabbing my arms on a normal stream, for God's sakes, dude.
Hey,
That's just
you
because I've
admitted that
done
you
way
were
too
already
much
feeling
things
the
I
burn.
shouldn't have.
You admitted
Yeah.
you were already feeling the burn.
Hey,
Dude, I feel the burn
guys,
after watching Star
and
Trek, for
Tracker.
God's sakes. Don't tell me about that, for God's sakes. Especially last night's episode. Oh boy, did I feel the burn. Because that was a horrible episode.
LDG, what happened to your voice? You sound like Dom DeLuise tonight.
I've been
Yeah, you kinda
talking
do.
all day. I've been
hey,
talking
Darren,
all day. I had a very long.
Chief, be patient.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk over anybody.
Go ahead.
I had a very long stream today. We had a great stream today. I've been talking a lot today. Then I had to get on to a Real Review 3000. I've been talking nonstop. So if my voice sounds a little rough,
Review 3000.
my bad. It's a Chris Knight channel where you have to. It's like a double dare game.
Okay.
That's all about talking bullshit for so many minutes in a row.
Oh, you could be
so
good
I've
at
been
that.
talking all day. Oh yeah, I'm
Hey,
king.
who won that, by
But
the way?
unfortunately, I
moved
got
over
second
here
place.
before it was over. Who won
Yeah,
that? LD?
I know.
Then I guess
No
you're not
worries,
king.
Well, you know.
Well, you said I was king, but I got second place. So then you're not king. You're like
I
Duke.
had to bow down to somebody who was just a little bit more wittier than I am.
Right. So then you weren't
it is
the
a
king.
rare.
Yeah,
it is a rare animal, but they
last
do
week-
exist.
I won the damn thing last week, and then they do a surprise roll at the end of it to choose somebody else to win, and I lost that one. So,
Well,
I watched it for a little bit.
well, that's your
I watched it
that's
right
your
when,
fault there,
I-
Deej. I'm sorry to say, bro. I played the same game you did. You knew the rules.
Basically, a lie who shit all over Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I only lost because I thought sprinkles actually improved ice cream instead of the opposite. That's the only reason why I lost. I thought Jimmy's were actually cool on ice cream.
Wow.
What's
Hey, and Tracker, Darren.
Yeah.
Darren, I have to correct you on something about the Marine Corps.
What's that?
Joining the Navy SEAL. There is Marine Corps Rangers. I mean Raiders. I'm sorry, Raiders.
Okay.
They're the new special forces.
The Navy does recruit from the Marine Corps, however.
Yeah, no, I know.
No,
But before
they only
that-
do that when they can't fill a class, though, with Navy personnel. Then they'll open it up to Marine Corps, and some of them will want to jump ship.
Yeah, I know, but before Marine do that, they sign up for the recon and the Raiders.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. No. There was a SEAL I met named Macarini, and he was a Marine first, and he was he was a Lance Corporal. Can't remember what he was, just a general rifleman, I guess, and he got there was a class that needed filling and at Buds, and they offered, he took it, and he was a SEAL. He actually converted his rank over to the Navy. That was it.
I know the Marine Corps, but I know a lot of Marines.
Yeah.
Were
I'm
tried that.
Yeah, the special force, the special operations unit, the Marine Corps that I'm familiar with is the Marine Force Recon, which rode us a couple of times. We had to get them somewhere for something, and and that was, but I'll tell you, compared to them though, the SEALs were less like military, and they were more like Jedi Knights, because
but also
SEALs are no joke.
No.
Yeah, but also the Marine Raiders are very similar to that, but we just don't hear them a lot. They don't.
Right. You don't.
They don't.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and back when nobody knew what a Navy SEAL was, nobody was claiming to be Navy SEAls. Now, of course, once they got the Hollywood treatment, everybody wants to claim they were a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, but the Raiders are basically the second. They do have like a version of the SEAL 1, like SEAL 1, SEAL 2. They're Raiders 1 and 2. and they are do this special forces. I hate the fact that they cannot allow, they are not join these special forces community like SECCOM because the Marine Corps are presented. All of them are special forces in a certain kind of way. It's a damn shame that they cannot be.
Well, special forces.
There is a difference between Black Ops and SEALs.
Special ops is everybody else. There's special ops and there's special forces. Special forces are army units. Special ops are everybody else. Because as Andy Trekker will mention, the military really only applies to the army.
Right.
Technically
speaking, the Navy is not the. That's why. Picard can be technically correct when he says Starfleet is not a military organization because
but I got an interesting
the Navy isn't.
I got an interesting story. One time we had SEALs riding us, and we had a new torpedo.
That sounds wrong. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, I know it's okay. Riding the boat, they were guests of ours. We were getting them somewhere, and we had a torpedoman who was probably somewhat intimidated. He thought of himself as one of the ship's tough guys, and here are these SEALs that come on, and I'll be honest, a lot of those guys don't look all that tough when they're wearing their uniforms and stuff. Right. And they're in the torpedo room, and there was a little bit of a discussion, and one of the SEALs, who was an E3, tapped our torpedoman on the neck with his middle finger, just tapped it, right? And the torpedoman dropped. And what we figure he did was he momentarily stopped blood flow from one of his jugulars to his brain. So so you have a loss of 50% of the blood to your brain. You're gonna lose conscious. His chief was so pissed at him for doing that. And when the guy woke up, he was really messed up. It was like he had hangover symptoms. From like a night of drinking.
That's no joke. That's not something you should do casually.
No, and so I mean I just remember his chief just got nose to nose with him and whispered to him all kinds of stuff that we couldn't hear, but we knew.
I can tell you exactly what that was. I mean, what he did, is something that yes, well, not exactly, but. But the Vulcan neck pinch involves nerves. So Darren's correct. It's about the blood flow to your brain. If you know where to hit somebody, you can do that very quickly. And the problem,
I've seen that too.
Right. But the thing is that that's something that if you learn that particular move, you are one of the things they tell you is that you are to consider that deadly force. You should never use it on someone as a joke. Because while 99% of the time the person will recover just fine, you can kill someone that way.
Oh yeah,
definitely. And so,
did I just miss Deej doing? Guys, wait a second. Go ahead, Deej. I want to see this.
Oh, he's knocking him out.
2,
and 3. He's not touching the ground. Now he's not quite going down far enough, DJ. You got to go down a little further.
Down enough.
If I go down any far,
I give him.
I don't like to go down.
If I go down, my gut will touch.
Well, that's the problem I have.
Come on, go down, munch the carpet.
Oh my God! Come on.
Yeah,
what is with those ankle-high socks?
Anyway. Come on, Danny Love. We're not going to go there. Go ahead, Deej.
I used to hate it when.
There you go. That's better. That's one.
There you go. Back
almost
straight,
that time. Almost a little further. Right. That's it. Right there. That's it. But keep that back straight.
My gut was touching that one.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if your gut touches compared to you're just letting your body just completely hit the ground.
If you were in the military and your gut touched the ground because you did a proper push-up, you would not be in the military. I mean, honestly,
because high weight standards.
Exactly.
They measure you.
Exactly.
Yeah, they actually, when I went into boot camp, one of the things they did was there were a few guys that did not meet the weight standard, and so they put them into a fat camp where they literally all they did was run. And when we started basic, we had a couple of graduates of Fat Camp join us, and they were the best runners of the unit because they had already been running 5, 6, 7 miles at a time, 4 or 5 times a day.
FTU, and training unit.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, Deej, I already got your money. You're not getting a refund.
I used to hate it when I was in basic training, and I would be straining. I went into basic training at 200 pounds and left at 169, but I was trying to do push-ups with 200 pounds, and there's these little Filipino guys next to me that probably weigh less than 100 pounds, and they're cranking them out like industrial pistons,
right?
Because they don't have to move as much weight as I did.
Okay.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a huge misunderstanding with the term black ops, where you actually have like the term SEALs?
The term, first of all, let me just say this: the term black ops is not a military term.
It's not Hollywood. A military. Yeah, right. That's just to describe the actual mission.
No, it's not a military. It's a Hollywood term. It is not a.
It's a Hollywood term.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds.
So like Rangers or Green Beret or Delta Force. Delta Force. Those are terms that actually exist. Not just black ops.
Right.
Correct?
Well, first of all, like Green Berets is not a thing. Green Berets is an article of clothing. The unit is called Special Forces. They are not called the Green Berets, but Special Forces is known for wearing Green Berets.
Green Berets, yes. Okay,
which eventually became black, and then everybody in the Army
Special Forces.
No. Actually, the Rangers wear the black beret.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yes. Okay, you're right.
And Rangers are like a step down from Special Forces, but they are badasses. You do not want to piss off a Ranger.
As far as Navy is concerned, you can't get any higher than a SEAL.
Well, higher. What do you mean higher?
Like badass higher.
In terms. Well, there might be some other units that nobody knows about.
Right. There are units that are not public knowledge.
I was about to say that.
Yes, there's a lot of military unit and other armed services units that nobody's ever heard of.
SEAL Team 6.
Yeah, I got you.
And you could, if you were a Hollywood writer, call them black ops, because black ops is generally something that
the public doesn't know about.
The public doesn't know about. So, but
the Army has multiple publicly known.
Right, but let me put it to this. Let me put it to this way, LD. Yeah. One of the things that and it's another horribly misused term in the civilian world, classified.
Yeah.
Right.
Classified, exactly.
And so if something is classified, then that means that it is not public knowledge. And so, well, if you are first of all, it's not need to know. You have to have the proper clearance to see it. You don't get to see it just because you're on the mission, right? You do not get if you are someone who has not passed a FBI security check, you do not get to see classified information. When I was getting into military intelligence, which is as much as I will say about it, but when I was getting into military intelligence, everyone I knew from high school got a direct visit from the FBI. That's how serious they take it. And so they talk to my friends, they talk to my teachers, they talk to my relatives, and then once they were satisfied, then they gave me the level of clearance that I needed. And the level of clearance that I needed was to be able to know about certain weapon systems that were in places that may or may not be violations of certain treaties. All right, so so that's as much information as I'm going to give on it. But the idea of saying black ops it's just a classified op. That's all it is, right? And it's like if something is classified, then the public finds out about it, they'll call it black ops, right? That's what the news media call it or whatever. Yeah. And it just means that the public, if you were to ask for information from the Freedom of Information Act on certain military operations, if it's classified, you're not getting anything.
Right. And one last thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tracker. The term A-Team, not beside the movie, also was a special ops, a special name for
A-Team simply means action team.
Alpha team.
No, it doesn't mean alpha team. You could, because it's an action team. It's a team that is going on a military action. Yeah. And so an action team can be 3 guys. It could be 300 guys. Yeah. It just depends on the operation.
Yeah, because I remember they were doing story about the A team and how they created the A team. The guy said we just heard stories about guys who was in the special forces and they had a unit called Alpha Team.
But you think, well, first of all, it was probably Alpha. It was probably like Alpha Squad or Alpha Company, because that's how you break. Like what you do in typically in the Army is you have a platoon, right? A platoon is made up of 4 squads, and typically a company is made up of 4 platoons. So a squad is usually listed 1, 2, 3, 4. So your first squad, and then the platoon is Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. So your first squad, or I'm sorry, no, it's first, second, third platoon as well. My bad. So like I was first squad, third platoon, all right, and then company A, right? So first squad, third platoon, company Alpha. Then you get into I was in the 40th MP Battalion. The battalion is made up of various companies, and so you're in the 40th Battalion, the Alpha Company, 3rd Platoon, 1st Squad, Squad Leader. That was my position.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you talk about an A team, for example, you could say, and I don't know if the Navy uses the terminology at all, but you could say, for example, SEAL Team 6, when they went after bin Laden, was an A team. It was just an actionable team. That's all it means.
I have classified information about the Momo Challenge.
Oh God, here we go.
This is the reason why I say to you, don't do that.
Nobody here is doing the Momo Challenge except you.
Okay.
Another great little story. We had a guy who in my basic training unit who was going to try out for SEALs. The SEALs would offer tryouts to people in Navy boot camp, and in order to qualify, you had to run a mile and a half in your dungarees and your boondockers. We used boondockers back then, and there was a couple. It was basically just a normal PT test, just in uniform rather than in sneakers and sweatpants and stuff. But he was going to try out, and he had this really unorthodox brain of his. He actually created a radio from materials that he was able to accumulate while in basic training. He got some wiring from a dumpster. He actually was able to find crystals that he made a crystal radio.
Dilithium crystals?
No, just quartz crystal battery. He was able to do this. And what he would do is he would hook it up, and he'd have the wiring connected to a part of a razor blade, and he'd wrap the razor blade up in cotton wadding and stick it in his ear, and he was able to listen to ball games.
Oh, not bad.
With this makeshift radio. Well, they found it, and they kicked him out of the Navy. And it's like, okay, you just got rid of a guy who without any
MacGyvered together a frickin' radio.
Yeah, and the reason why was because you cannot have a radio in basic training.
Right.
They don't care how brilliant you are. They don't care where you got the radio from and how well you may have snuck in it. That is immaterial. And I kept telling him, I said, you want to wait until after you get out of here before you start doing this shit. But they kicked him out. So.
I think so. Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm a wireless mate, and when computers go down, something like that. One of my jobs is to put the wires, move the wires, everything. We had guys like that who had to do outpass me. Fantastic job, and you still had to stay in the Navy training, and he was a good guy to save us time and money, but he wouldn't kick these guys out and grill them. But they're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. No, you can't get certain things you couldn't do.
That was something that I told my brother. I said, don't worry about standing out in basic training. Just get on the other side of that basic training, and then try to impress people. Because I told him, I said, it doesn't matter when you're running, and this is true in any branch. I don't care what branch you're in. If you're running and you're breaking the sound barrier, the person shouting at you is still going to tell you you're not moving fast enough.
Yes.
It's just the way what they do. And so, and that was a guy who didn't know that. He thought he was in Starfleet Academy or something and wanted to impress people, and then he got him kicked out. So
it's like
we had a guy. We had a guy. We used to have a problem with a guy. We get like viruses. We biggest problem in these ships now. We got a lot of viruses, and we had to reboot the stuff, and we can't get them up. And we had guys who like attack, big tech schools, and they can do it in 15, 20 minutes. But the Navy, so you got to do a certain kind of way, and they get frustrated. They can't do it this way, but it's just amazing. They can tell you how to break down the computer, fix it, blindfolded.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to do it the standard way, and they get frustrated. You can't do it.
Yeah. We had and when I went to submarine school, there was an interesting kind of student that was there, and they were all E4s, and what they were called were nuclear waste, and what they were guys who went to the Navy Nuclear Power School and didn't make it, and they were offered to go to submarine school, and you wouldn't be able to work on, obviously on engineering and the reactor and stuff like that, but you could pick a different rate where you were working forward of the reactor compartment, like me, right? So you had a lot of machinist mates and electronics technicians and things like that. One guy, and this is not unheard of. The Navy uses regular old Maytag washing machines, just like the ones you buy at Best Buy. You probably grew up in a house that had them, right? And this guy was doing his laundry, and you know how some machines, when you close the lid, the water starts, right? So in order to save time, what they do is they stick a coin into the joint of the hinge of the lid.
Yeah.
In order to keep the button down so water would continue to flow while they were throwing their laundry in to save a few extra seconds. Well, he got caught doing that in the barracks, and he got kicked out because he was overriding a fail-safe on a piece of Navy equipment, which if you're in the nuclear power school, that is death for you. You are done. You want to talk about SEALs and everything, the Navy's nuclear power school is the toughest academic school in the military, or possibly in the Navy, definitely in the Navy. But
I'll tell you, like in the Army, as far as military police, one of the reasons that you may have to have one of those intense background checks is if you qualify for nuclear duty, and what that means is because, interestingly enough, the Air Force, at least at the time, I don't know about today, but back in the 80s, the Air Force did not provide security for their nuclear missiles. The Army did. And so while the Air Force actually ran the nuclear missile silo, it was MPs that actually provided security. And you had to have nuclear security in order to serve that kind of duty. And then at certain locations, you would need to have much higher clearance duty, depending on if the location was technically legal or not. And the interesting thing about it is just that they do not joke around when it comes to having any kind of access to nuclear weapons. And of course, I would imagine that the Navy has a very similar policy as far as getting anywhere near a nuclear reactor.
Oh man, try to do that on an air carrier.
Yeah,
right.
You got Marines roving nuclear patrol.
You don't go.
Right.
Yeah. Certain areas you don't go in a carrier.
Yeah.
Is that nuclear thing is one of
Darren,
the
was it your nuclear sub?
Yes, all submarines in the United States Navy are nuclear powered.
Okay.
Yeah, except for the ones they reactivate for training purposes. Sea down periscope.
Yeah.
Well, my friend Adam, he was on a sub, and he was a nuclear specialist there. But he never told me which one he was on. I don't know if he was allowed to say or not.
Well, he probably was, but who knows? I get suspicious when people omit certain. It's like you can always tell if somebody claims to be a Navy SEAL and you think they might be full of crap. Ask them what ship they served on. If they give you any name, they were never a SEAL, because SEAls aren't assigned to ship crews.
Right.
So.
Me, when I was in my basic training, I succeeded to do popsicle with lemonade, and they kicked me out because it was disgusting.
I can't see you in basic training.
No, hell no. You can last one day.
You lost me at basic training there, Alexander.
I can actually see Alexander in basic training. Just watch Stripes.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, Darren, it's funny we mentioned SEALs too, because my friend wanted to be a SEAL for the longest time. Then when he finally got into the Navy, he switched. He just changed his direction right away. He just said it was a better option. Yeah. And now he works at power plants. I think he's in.
Well, that training is great for that.
Homer?
Or better yet, watch the movie Platoon. Alexander could be Private Pile.
Yeah.
No, it's true. This is disgusting.
Deej, Private Pile was in Full Metal Jacket, not Platoon.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Oh, that's
wrong
right,
movie.
Full Metal
Yeah.
Jacket.
Wrong guy.
But the honestly, I know that it's a beloved film, but I hate Stripes. Man,
You know,
no wonder.
I got
no
yelled at by
wonder you were
Londell for
streaming
keep talking
against
about
my
Harley
Let's
Herman.
Talk episode.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like a humor that's long forgone.
I like MASH better, the movie, not the sitcom.
Right. But
next week we're doing the toy. Jackie Gleason, Richard Pryor.
yeah, Stripes is just. I'm sorry, but you know, if you're gonna do like Stripes, similar to Ghostbusters, Stripes is a well-written movie where they try to make it's not zany comedy as much as it's just put these guys into a ludicrous situation, right? And so, and the idea of Bill Murray in full Bill Murray attitude mode being in the Army, you know, that you would end up with something like
crucified him.
Right, but the problem, well, no, they wouldn't have crucified him. He would have been gone day one.
Exactly.
All right?
Yeah.
And in fact, he never would have been, you know, when as funny as it was at the beginning, when he said, "Oh, we're not homosexual, but we're willing to learn," he would have been, "Get out of my office." That would have been it right there.
Yeah.
I say the same thing for Jack O'Neill.
Yeah.
God damn it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Stripes has one of my favorite lines in a movie, though. When Bill Murray is trying to convince the guys to go rescue those guys with the EM50, he says, "We're going to Czechoslovakia. It's not like we're going into Russia. It's Czechoslovakia. It's like driving into Wisconsin."
Yeah, it's like Wisconsin.
Like, what do they got against Wisconsin anyhow? Jeez.
Yeah. I was so calling for Patrick on that line.
I feel discriminated by Hollywood.
It's only Czechoslovakia. We're driving in with Yosef. It's no big deal.
I mean, stuff like that and Spies Like Us are timeless. You know.
But you see, the problem is that I think my problem with Stripes is since I was in the Army, I can't get my suspension of disbelief going on a movie like that.
Well, I was cutting through it and cutting it down on all the things that were wrong with it being.
Oh, sure, but I'm just saying, like, for me, I have a tough time enjoying it because I see that. First of all, the only character in the entire movie that I could identify with was that frickin' drill sergeant, and
really,
because he was the only halfway realistic character in the whole damn movie.
Sergeant Holka.
The only problem is that Sergeant Holka should have written them up and kicked them out. I mean, they
how about when he bailed out of the back of the truck?
This is more like the Crawford Police Academy.
Thank you. I was going to say.
Actually,
every time he talked, I thought of Police Academy. Every time he spoke.
I liked John Larroquette. He's like, "Those are fine men. Are those my men?" And no, sir, here comes your company. And there's John Candy. Yeah. Woo! You know, running through the woods, making all kinds of noise.
Every time he spoke, I was like, "Where's Proctor?"
But you have to
seriously. Every time the drill sergeant spoke, I was like, "Where's Proctor?" Like he was just reacting like freaking Police Academy.
But the Army did see a surge in recruitment after people watched the movie Stripes.
Which is that's even worse. Is the fact that the people are so stupid as to think that a movie like Stripes is a realistic depiction of military life.
I mean, let me remind you, Top Gun. Top Gun would do the same thing. Everybody trying to join Navy pilot. But Top Gun came out
designed as a Navy recruitment video.
No, actually, Top Gun was designed as a homoerotic comedy, but that's a whole different.
Yeah, but I mean, they were flashing the Navy footage of fighter planes and stuff. They wanted people to join up. That's
the interesting thing, actually, the interesting thing about Top Gun is some of the most convincing model work in film history. They did not have Navy planes flying around; those were model planes.
No, they did. They did.
No, they had some file footage.
They used some like the takeoff and landing scenes and stuff. but the actual combat stuff, those were entirely filmed with models.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
mind.
Oh, and I'm sorry. Thank you, Thomas. Momo donated another $1. Said Alexander is a general in my army. Wait, where is the number one fan? Well, he's right in the middle there. He's center square.
No, the number one fan's off there to the side of
Alexander's
by
Alice right now in the,
at the books.
No.
in the Brady Bunch.
Hey, I got a trivia question. Guys. Name the carrier they used in Top Gun.
Well, in the movie, didn't they say it was the Enterprise?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
It was an Enterprise.
Damn.
It was it.
I
Yeah,
used real Star
yeah.
Destroyer.
Cook is proud of his ship. He really is.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they did film it. They did film on the original Enterprise and several scenes of it, front and back. And like you absolutely right about the RC planes actually. The RC planes.
Yeah, the RC. I mean, and I saw behind the scenes on the. I mean, these weren't like go to the hobby shop and get an F-14.
Yeah.
They were serious RC planes. The RC planes were like what, about 10 feet long, and and just incredible. And then another thing they did as and this was something different that they didn't do before. Is they created this device. It was basically a mechanical wheel that had a weight on an arm, and they'd spin the wheel, and that made the camera shake. So that when you're when you have the cockpit scenes, they were filming it just like they would normally film on a green screen, but the camera shake was so realistic because of this device that they attached to the camera to make it seem like air turbulence.
Yeah, with the exception of stock footage, there was also no submarines in The Hunt for October. Most of that, those effects were made by ILM, and they went from that right into making Star Trek 6.
Right.
And they did win an Emmy for that. They used the same technique that they had actually used on Star Trek 4 for the whales.
And a lot of people thought that those were real whales. And
I was one of them when I was a kid, man. I bought it.
They were convincing. They were very convincing.
The hell I am.
Yeah, the hell they're not.
I thought that it was real Gungans in episode 1 of Star Wars. But
of course you did. But the like I like when Spock tries to talk or Kirk tries to talk Spock out of cussing more, and so do you understand? The hell I can't.
The hell I can't.
Yeah.
I think my favorite line out of that though is, "Do you guys like Italian? No. Yes.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No. I like Italian, and so do you."
I want to know why you hang out with that ditzy guy who follows you around and calls you Admiral.
Right?
He's just gonna hang around the bushes while we eat.
It's his way.
It's his way. Yeah.
all of you Rose Tico fans,
there are no Rose Tico fans except you.
I'm a Kelly Marie Tran fan.
I'm not saying look. I don't have a problem with Kelly Marie Tran. I think that when you see her in that one dress at the Academy Awards, holy crap, she looked good. All right. Remember what did I say earlier? I want a woman with curves. The woman has curves. They just hid them under a freaking potato sack for the movie.
Yeah.
But you have
all the actors involved in Star Wars.
Michael,
got a raw deal.
Yeah.
I thought it was an orange prison outfit.
But Michael, you have an action figure of Rose Tico in your collection.
Yes, I know I do because you sent it to me.
Yes, because it was a reward because you were supporting so
But
much.
why did you send me a Rose Tico action figure?
Let Auntie use that as a chew toy.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Actually, I do still have it in the original packaging. I'll probably never take it out of the original
Alexander, what you
packaging.
should have done last Valentine's Day, or actually two Valentine's Days ago, is sent Andy Trekker the rose bouquet of Rose Ticos. A dozen roses.
It's okay.
And actually, I think they dropped the price to like $30 for a while. It was pretty funny.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Okay,
Ethan Van Sciver got like 2 of those.
I'm going to sleep because I spoke to my girlfriend, and now I can go to sleep. I'm working at 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow.
I like to sleep in once in a while too.
Oh yeah.
Well, you have fun sleeping there, Alexander. Are you gonna you gonna leave your webcam on while you sleep?
Yeah.
No. And
that way everybody can watch.
no, it's fine. I will go through that and close the.
You should do a live stream of you sleeping.
But I think that YouTube is against that.
Why?
I don't know why.
Andy Kaufman did it. You could do it.
I don't know. We'll see.
You should do that. You should absolutely make just do a live stream. Start doing a live stream every night. Start the live stream just as you go to bed, and you end the live stream when you wake up in the morning, and you just thank people for all the super chats.
I know the new bunny suit is better than the old one.
Yeah, that does look much better.
That's a higher quality. Yes.
LDG is going to do a chair stream when his chair comes in. It's just going to be his chair for like 3 hours straight.
I know.
Tomorrow.
I know that with you, I was able to find the movie, and we found it. The movie Terminal Justice,
Terminal Justice.
Terminal Justice. Sounds like a lovely film.
I will buy it because it's not on YouTube. We cannot find it in any way and then rent it.
Yeah. I got to figure out what we're gonna watch on this week or next week with Matthew. What do you guys think we should watch?
Oh,
Virus.
Well, last
No, I don't want to hear what you're about to say, Darren.
Last time, what?
Contagion.
Contagion.
I know that you can watch.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say that. Not with Matthew. That's no way to watch a movie with you talking through the whole thing. No, I wouldn't want you to watch the movie that time.
Okay.
That way. But no, I'm thinking that The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, because that's my favorite MST3K movie.
Last 1999.
You know, I saw that one back in the 70s the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really boring.
Yeah, but when you watch the MS2, obviously, yeah, you guys would have to really ham it up. And I suppose it's not like Plan 9 where the guys on MS-3K basically didn't have to say anything; they just let the movie play. It was it just made fun of itself. But
right.
So yeah, let me forget.
That. I forgot. He still has not seen Birdemic, so we'll probably watch.
Hi, Michael. Did you see the movie She?
Oh, I remember that one.
She.
There was an MST3K movie I watched.
I just made Lore Reloaded actually not have a comment against what I said. Holy shit!
What?
Wow. I actually told Lore Reloaded, he's live right now. I said, watch Discovery end like the Year of Hell, where Discovery actually has to do something that erases itself from time. Instead of giving me any kind of logical recourse to what I said, he just said, please, dear God, don't let that be.
Kowalski has corrupted him.
Yeah, without giving me anything at all, he just said, please, dear God, don't let that be. Usually he's really quick and he has something to say in response.
Well, I haven't had a chance to watch Lore much. Wait. I haven't. First of all, thank you, Philip. There's 50 MXs in. I'm not sure what MXs are, but thank you. But yeah, MX is the currency, and based on the color of the super chat, I'm guessing the 50 MX is somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 because it comes in the same color as a $5 super chat. But says watch Alien 3: The Assembly Cut. Well, that's not a bad one.
Mexican peso.
Mexican peso.
Oh, is that Mexican pesos? Okay, that makes sense.
I got one for you. Watch Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park with Matthew.
Jesus.
Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
Yeah, we're not fucking around now. Watch that one.
I like that movie.
It's got the bad guy from Star Trek Insurrection in it. He's the Phantom.
Oh, wow. Nice one that's kind of really fucked up.
Okay, bye, guys. Class 1999. Watch that, okay?
All right.
Good night.
I will remember that communist Borg mask almost wearing woman is best wife.
Communist Borg.
Don't do the Momo challenge.
Nobody is doing the Momo challenge but you.
He's secretly done it a few times. He just hasn't told us.
My vote for the worst movie to watch would be The Masher.
Dark Star.
I know I've talked about that before.
Well, but you see, if we watch bad movies, they have to be entertainingly bad. That's the thing.
John Carpenter. It's like
Dude, the one I'm talking about is a demonically possessed laundry press. How much more entertainingly bad could that be?
Well, conceptually, yeah, that sounds horrifically bad and hilarious. But that doesn't mean it, because depending on the movie and execution, it could just be boring. And that's the problem. A good bad movie is a movie that is not boring. So, like, Birdemic is a horribly shot, horribly acted, horribly produced movie, and the visual effects are so laughingly bad that you can't help but bust up laughing every time a bird shows up on the screen.
How about Dead Alive?
I don't think I've seen Dead Alive.
Dead Alive.
Dead Alive, yeah, it's got a lot of gore in it. It's really bad.
Well, I don't know that Matthew would like a really gory movie.
Okay, here's one.
It's like puppet gore.
Here's
Yeah,
one.
he likes Call of Cthulhu. I mean, what are we talking about?
If you could find student bodies.
I mean, Dead Alive, it has one of the best lines ever. It's like at the very beginning, this priest comes out and starts fucking whacking these zombies, screwing up, and he's just like, I kick ass for the Lord. I was like, hell yeah.
That's a Matthew line right there.
If you watch Student Bodies, though, that's like one of the very first movies that ever came out that was a comedy making fun of the horror genres.
Well,
which one?
I have a suggestion.
Student Bodies.
Well,
Oh,
Student Bodies is a good one.
Evil Dead.
But since
Now, how much censorship would I need to do on a movie like Student Bodies?
Student Bodies wouldn't have much censorship to it at all. They kill.
Well, that takes the fun out. You see,
they kill people with erasers and eggplants and paper clips, and you got.
But you see, I do think it's funny to have at least one scene that needs to be censored because I love throwing Matthew's face on top of the boobs.
Okay, I've got one from Dusk Till Dawn. I bet you he hasn't seen that. Now, there's one reason why I think that's a good idea. It's because that is the most accurate, or one of the best examples of the portrayal of Christians, a Christian family in a mainstream movie.
That you're right, actually. That's and I do like. I actually do like the way they portray, and the pastor who lost his faith but finds it. It's actually got a nice arc for the family. And Jim Cotta. Oh man, Jim Cotta's a great one, Indy Tiger. That's
Transylvania 65000.
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he's seen that one. It would be sad. It will be really, really sad to cover up those beautiful body parts in that dance.
Well, she's not nude. She's not nude. She's wearing, and that's one of the amazing things.
No, she's topless in it.
She's not topless. She's wearing a bikini.
Topless. I thought you. No, you're right. You're right. She's wearing a bikini, but there's topless women all around.
Yeah, you'd have to put little Matthews everywhere. But
there'll be a lot of little Matt. That would take a little bit of work to put that many little Matthews on screen.
Or you could rig it so that when you get to that part of the movie, you just have a couple of choice still frames that you put up there, and then you resume the active.
Or sorry, have it like suddenly get scrambled like in the old days, and then put up a screen that says we're experiencing technical difficulties.
Yeah, and you already got that screen. Censor the part with Cheech Marin when he's like talking about.
Oh yeah, that would.
Well, they can't hear the audio.
Yeah, but even so, I think that for Matthew's ears, I would probably want to censor that a little bit. And in fact, here's what I would do, honestly, because you guys know that scene.
Making fun of Kmart.
Well, here's what I would do with that scene.
Everything that George Clooney says too, because he swears every other word.
Well, but the thing, it's the very graphic nature of how Cheech Marin does that monologue.
You change it
to what I would do is actually ask Matthew to record a few choice words, right? So have him say like. Kidneys is a good one. Have him say kidneys, and then have him say a few other random terms like juicy or flowery or musical, and then like cover up Cheech Marin's words with Matthew's voice.
But he can handle a word that describes a cat. I mean. not a problem.
I think he could, but I don't think that he would like the rather descriptive terms that go with it. The first part where he says the kitty cat over and over is, I think, would be fine. But then when he starts giving all the various descriptions of different types of cats, that might be a bit much. That's what I'm saying.
I think it's funny.
I agree it's funny, but I do think, I'll talk to him about it.
Get his permission.
Yeah. I would ask him if that is too much for him, because that's, even though I think that you're right, that I love the portrayal of the Christian family in that movie, but that is very graphic. And so, and as far as language goes, that's about as graphic as you can get.
Smelly.
Yeah, so,
Snapping pussy.
Yeah. We don't need to make this stream into that monologue.
I was censoring
If you can find cheaper kidneys anywhere, bleep it.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, the movie itself, it's kind of like with Dracula 2000. I really like what they did with it. But Dracula 2000 also is not particularly graphic. And so it's just the concept there. But with the
if you want to make them cringe, make them watch Love at First Bite.
I saw that movie in theaters.
Children of the Night, shut up.
Yeah, that movie is. But I do love the idea. I think Birdemic is going to be fun. Birdemic is one of the James Wynn trilogy of really bad movies, which, if you've not seen them, like Birdemic, a lot of people have seen. Yeah, but he's made 4 movies in total, and his movies are all the same dialogue, but arranged differently. And I wish I was making that up, but he literally, like, he'll have scenes like, okay, do you remember the basic story of Birdemic?
Yeah.
Okay, every single one of his films features a salesperson of some kind of technology that just makes the big sale and meets a girl.
Oh,
right? Every one of his movies, and then the romantic dialogue between the guy and the girl are the same in every one of his movies.
I'll have to fucking check that out. But
yeah, it's hilarious. You want to watch? You definitely want to watch Replica. That's one of James Wynn's films. Yeah, Replica is filmed on a green screen that makes my green screen look like frickin' ILM. All right, it's 90% of the film is filmed on really bad green screen with really bad, like, Nintendo level sets behind them, and not to scale with the people. So the sets look like they're for people that are like 10, 20 feet tall.
Wow.
And so,
it's funny though. Like in some of the, even in Star Trek, to make people look longer. I think it was in TMP, to make the shot look bigger. They've actually used midgets.
Yeah.
And the shot in the back. So
for the people in the back of the engineering section. Yeah. To make it look like that the warp core was much longer than it was. Yeah. But that little tricks like that, I can understand. I mean, look at what Peter Jackson pulled off with Lord of the Rings, with the forced perspective thing. A lot of people thought that those shots were CG, or at least early CG, digital effects where you would just, shoot them in front of a green screen and make them look shorter.
They tempered those, like the houses, everything for over a year before the shot.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, the amount of work that some of those sets are so intricate, like the Bilbo's dining room table when he serves tea to Gandalf. That was one of the most difficult shots. If you watch the behind the scenes stuff, it's really interesting because that table is articulated so that as the camera moves, the table actually changes shape so that it looks like it's correct from different perspectives. You normally can't move a camera on a forced perspective shot, but they wanted to be able to do it.
And I when I saw that in the theater, I kept looking I'm like, that's the best split screen
CGI
I've ever seen, and I kept I was straining to find it.
All right, hey guys.
Yeah.
What's
Hey
that?
guys, I gotta run. Hey, I gotta run,
That's
guys.
yeah, we're
Hey,
wrapping up anyway. So yeah, you have a good one.
Who says?
I say.
That's me, man.
It's
Don't
my
pay any
stream,
attention
damn
to
it.
the man behind the curtain. Thanks for having me, Angie Chucker. Everybody, take care, everybody.
Have a good
talk
one.
to you guys later. Have a good one.
See ya, Pickle.
So yeah, I mean the level of care that Peter Jackson put into Lord of the Rings was incredible. I think one of the problems with The Hobbit is that he became too dependent on CG for a solution rather than practical solutions. And I think that's part of what made Lord of the Rings so special is it felt like you thought it was perfect CG because it was actually a incredibly meticulously done practical shot.
Yeah, it was. They did the same thing with them riding in the wagon together, where you have huge Gandalf next to little Bilbo, or whatever his name was, or
right.
Or
The only
Frodo.
Yeah. The only problem with those scenes, and it bugged me when I first saw it in theaters, and it still bugs me to this day, is that the shots of the children with masks on are obvious.
Right.
Because whenever
I find that delightful, though. I find that delightful.
It's kind of the cheat. It's like the guy in the gorilla suit you were talking about before. It is kind of a cheat, but it's like it takes me out just enough to where I wish that they had been able to do something a little more convincing.
I mean, there's an episode of Gilligan's Island where Gilligan has a dream based on Jack and the Beanstalk, where Skipper is the giant, and he, of course, is. And there's a moment where he's trying to evade the giant played by the Skipper, and it's clearly a child in a Gilligan costume running around a table with the Skipper chasing him, and it was and of course I totally bought it when I was a little kid watching it, and today I find that kind of stuff delightful, those little side gags. Yeah.
And yet, well, Commodore, I was still going, but only for about 35 more seconds or so. So, any last words, Ensign Ricky, Deej, or Darren?
No, I'm good.
I wanted to talk about something else, but that's okay. We can go. It'll keep for later.
First of all, Darren, tomorrow night is Untitled Show, so we'll talk.
Oh, that's
again.
right. I'll save it for that then. That's fine. That's fine.
And so, in that case, guys, have a good one. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. If you didn't have people to hang out with, I hope this helped you a little bit. If you did have people to hang out with, then what the hell are you doing here? But
you are the person we're hanging out with. So
and I appreciate that. I do, and that's why I did 2 live streams today, because I know that lots of people don't have a lot of people to hang out with, but we are one community, and I love the fact that our community is healthy, our community is growing, and hopefully, if one of these new platforms other than YouTube ever takes off, our community can move. But we'll see what happens. All right, guys. So with that, have a wonderful rest of your Thanksgiving night as I try to find the magic button here to stop the stream.
Top right.
Don't forget to wipe.
Yeah, don't forget to wipe. Yes, don't forget to wipe. Thank you, Darren, for saying that. Community is and so that's a thing now. I actually said that last night on my stream. Thank you. You just I said, what Darren says, don't forget to. I'm just, that's gonna.
What you said.
I'm gonna say that from now on. Remember what Darren says, and don't forget to wipe. And in fact, I'm gonna cut that you just saying that just now and make an audio file out of it.
But you said it first. You said it first, like a year ago.
I know, but that's okay.
Change history.
You know what? Hey, if Discovery makes it so that Michael Burnham is the reason for Romulan Vulcan reunification, then why the hell not? Darren came up with "Don't forget to wipe" and "Don't you forget it."
I will deny it every chance I get.
It doesn't change. It's the disco verse, buddy. You're trapped.
All right.
And we're out.